Uh, a very good afternoon today, one and all over here. It's my pleasure to invite everybody for this FOGSI ICOG online certification course on breastfeeding, which we have been conducting for last 2 days, and today is the third session. And I'm thankful to the team FOGSI, Dr. Jaideep Tang sir, Dr. Madhuri ma'am, and our ICOG team led by Dr. Parul Kotrawala sir, Dr. Saita Bhalerao madam, and our series conveners, Dr. Parag Binniwale sir, Dr. Chamila Ayu ma'am, and of course Dr. Kartike Bhagat sir, who has been pivotal in this, Dr. Charulata Bapai, who is the chairperson FOGSI Study on Female Breast Committee, who is associated with this online course, and Dr. Parag Dagli. Myself, Dr. Archana Divedi, welcome you all for this today's session. I would request Dr. Sarita Bhalerao, madam, if she's there, to say a few words of wisdom. Dr. Parag sir, would you like to speak something?
Thank you, Archana. Good afternoon. I bring greetings from ICOG, and it's indeed a pleasure to welcome you all for the third day of this certification course. And I must appreciate efforts put in by our own Dr. Kartik Bhagat and Dr. Charulata Bapai, who's doing an excellent work as chairperson of the Study of Female Breast Committee. So I'm sure all the delegates learned a lot in last 2 days. Of course, our conveners will present what happened yesterday in a bit. And of course, there are some people who are waiting for the pre-test. So pre-test will also start very soon. My best wishes for the program. And Charu and Karthik, thank you so much for being the conveners of this program.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Without your efforts, this wouldn't work out.
No, we are their namesake. You are the people who are working. Krishna and I are just there as backup.
You have much more to do.
Hello, Archana. Yeah.
And we request Sheila Mani madam to give her blessings for this webinar.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Archana. And very nice to be a part of this certification course. And we always know that the breast committee of FOGSI, always works very hard. And as August was our breastfeeding promotion week, I know that this is the very apt certificate course. And, even though, we all are into obstetrics for such a long time, still, this area is neglected by some people and the importance is not given. And since 2 days, we have learned a lot. And today, again, very important points will be covered, like difficulties in breastfeeding, as well as the what are the policies, and all those things will be discussed. And I'm very sure, because our future generation health depends on breastfeeding. Okay, and all of us, we know that lactoferrin, which is there in the breast milk, and which is very important for the immunity as well as for the gut microbiota and so many things. So this colostrum though is always important, but the human breast milk is very rich in lactoferrin, and if the mother gives exclusive breast milk to the baby will remain, and all the points are already being shared and discussed since 2 days, and more light will be thrown today. So I really congratulate the whole team, Dr. Charu as well as Dr. Kartik. Can also spread the message to their label on the. So those who were not able to attend all 3 days can always access the website and go through these talks, and that will be very helpful for everybody. Once again, I wish all the best and thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila ma'am, for being the convener and giving us the preamble so nicely, and all the efforts of all the dignitaries is being acknowledged.
Our guest of honor for today,
we have Dr. Maid madam. Can I request Dr. Charu?
Sorry, Dr.
Hello, Charu.
Charu, it's
Hello. Dr. Archana, we have our guest of honor today, Dr. Mandakini Meg, who has been the past chairperson of ICOG and who has taken ICOG to new heights during her tenure. And we would like to introduce her and invite her for her words. She's
Thank
been
you. Thank you, Charu.
I think, Madam, you are very well known to each and every one of us.
Yes,
Your
yes.
work in this field of ICOG, as well as helping all youngsters to reach and achieve their goals, has been very well known. You're the recipient of so many awards, and you're indeed a true leader. So we welcome you to kindly, give your words of wisdom for this.
So, thank you very much. ICOG, I can see Parag. Parag, thank you very much for being my very, very efficient secretary. Now you are going to be the chairperson. And I think, and Sheila Mane, Sarita Valerao, Dr. Karthike Bhagat, all of them were the team of initiation of this certificate courses. I remember Parag in the beginning when Charu was just she was helping Sneha where that time the first course which was taken was the breastfeeding, the same course. And we had the some teething trouble like how long the course should be, what kind of format it should have, how exams should be conducted. We came through trial and errors. We finally got this model which now running so well, and you are all doing extremely well and taking the ICOG and certificate course to a newer height and inventing new subjects. So I think Parag, thank you very much for being with me and helping me in that time until the people are remembering. Charu, you are remembering. Even you wrote my ICOG, this valedictory program and my, charge giving. So this today's topic, I think, is very important. As Sheila said, that policies, then the milk banking, the newer whatever this thing updating everything. This is a third day, I think. Charu, today is
Yes,
the third day.
Today is the third day.
Yeah, and today will be the exam also, MCQ and 50% passing and all those things are there. So I think I wish this course very great ending, I can say, very, very great valedictory. And I'm extremely happy because this is my home front where we did around 11 new projects, certificate course, online fellowship, journal club. That was all because of the COVID. We became extra talented and very innovative in our time. And now everything is running so smoothly, and you are also doing extremely well too with the new projects. So I wish all the best to Parag for his forthcoming being the chair of the ICOG. Also Sarita, Sheila, Karthikeyan, all the faculties here. I wish you. I am in the emojis office in a meeting. Meeting is going on. So, and I am coming to Pune. I think ICOG conference. You are inviting me, na?
Of course, madam.
That's the first and second
Of course, madam. I think Parag will not leave you.
No, ICOG conference should be there without Mandakini Meg.
Thank you very much, and we are a part of a family of ICOG. Long live ICOG, long live FOGSI. Thank you very much.
Nice to hear your voice, madam. Nice.
Thank you, Dr. Meg, for accepting our invitation to be the guest of honor, and for the information of all the viewers. The certificate courses were started during COVID times, and the credit goes to Dr. Mandakini Meg. Then we all worked on it, and now this has become one of the most sought after programs, the 3-day certification course. Thank you.
True. Yeah, yes, very true.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mandakini ma'am. Thank you, Parag sir, and Team BFHI, KMC of India, FOGSI, and Study of Female Breast Committee for initiating this program today, third day. I would request Dr. Parag Dagli sir to give a highlight on the day-to topics.
Dr. Parag
Or
is
we
not
can
there.
straight away go to the pre-test, Charu.
I think we just need to make a mention.
Let's do the pre-test. Charu, let's
yesterday.
do the pre-test first.
Yeah, I think let us do the pre-test. That is fine, absolutely. But I really want to thank ICOG from the bottom of my heart, because we see that when these projects go through ICOG, the standing, the credibility, the weightage which the term ICOG has, the level to which all our esteemed office bearers and past presidents, current office bearers, and would-be presidents are taking this ICOG to such great heights that it is indeed making all the FOGSians aware of the presence of these beautiful courses. And so we're very happy that we've had close to 150 people attending it every day, and many people have benefited. There has been a lot of interaction and a lot of interest generated in the field of breastfeeding. Thank you once again. Thank you, ICOG. Thank you, Parag, Dr. Mandakini. Maninder madam has been there throughout both the cases, the days, and today also she's there.
Yeah.
Pleasure to have all esteemed stalwarts over here. Thank you once again.
Charu, just one suggestion.
Yes.
We've given official time for the pretest as 4:15. Right?
Yes.
So there could be some people who will join little late. We still have about 4 or 5 minutes. So
Yes,
why
even
not
I
you
thought,
or Karthik, take a review of yesterday's
Charu,
question.
would you like to do it, Charu?
Dr. Karthikeya, you can go ahead, please.
Okay.
Okay, so I would request Dr. Karthikeya sir
So
to
this
give us a
course was designed
review of
over 3 days.
Volume,
This course,
Dr. Karthikeya.
okay. This course was designed for 3 days. The base for baby-friendly hospital initiative is the 10 steps to successful breastfeeding. So over 3 days, we divided all these 10 steps into different topics, and we thought we'll give you a glimpse of what actually happens. Now, the 10 steps are basically for every maternity unit. Now, WHO, UNICEF, and all the other organizations decided that maternity homes play a major role in breastfeeding. So out of these 10 steps, the first day we covered initiation of breastfeeding and the support for breastfeeding. Second day, we covered the basic concepts of what the mothers should know and the kangaroo mother care. And today we will be discussing step 1, which is basically the policy. So the IMS Act, what the policy says, and how do you manage the data. And after that, we will talk about the milk bank and the community lactation centers. And then we will give a small talk on maternal infections and breastfeeding. After that will be the panel discussion with Dr. Charulata will conduct. So we hope that these over 3 days, you would have a glimpse of what actually happens to make a maternity unit baby friendly. And the key factor is you. If the obstetrician is convinced about what needs to be done, then he will be able to effect that change. You'll need a pediatrician who will have to support you because you can't manage the baby on your own. And both the doctors can't function without the staff. The whole unit cannot function without the policy support from the policymakers and the community. So in order to achieve a breastfeeding community, all of us need to start work together. Out of the 10 steps, every step has its own importance. So even if you put in 2 steps or 3 steps, it'll work. But when you put in all the 10 steps, the work or the effect is far better. So this is what actually happened over the last 2 days. And today will be the concluding session, which will give you an idea of the baby-friendly hospital initiative. At this juncture, let me tell you, to make your hospital baby-friendly, Breastfeeding Promotion Network of India, Maharashtra chapter can help you. So you can get in touch with Dr. Gangal, and he will do a sensitization workshop for your hospital or a small maternity unit. So make an effort because only we can make a difference. Are we ready for the pre-test?
Ideally, it is 4:20. It is 4:14 just now. So I think we will just wait for 1 more minute, and maybe 4:15 we can start
You can share your views about what happened over the last 2 days.
I think it was one of the most interesting discussions that we heard. So believe me, Dr. Karthikeya, the point is that probably when we speak, it is only through a little bit of experience, more of internet knowledge maybe. And when you people speak, especially the KMC Foundation and all of you people so much involved in increasing the incidence of breastfeeding in our country, there is a different touch to the whole thing. And so when you people say it, it feels that it is going to be feasible, it is possible, and we can all do it, because it is not from textbooks, it is from the heart, and it is from the work that has been done. And I'm quite sure that everybody who is attending the course are going to go back very, very enriched and extremely, in a positive frame of mind, that yes, breastfeeding is the one and only single way ahead.
Yeah,
So,
I think so. See, what happens is the हाथीचे दात वेगळे असतात, खायचे आणि दाखवायचे.
yes, yes,
तो
yes.
हाथी के दांत अलग होते हैं, जो खाने के दांत और दिखाने के दांत. तो
Correct,
जनरली हम लोग का भी ऐसा होता है कि प्लेटफॉर्म से कुछ बोलते हैं मगर करते कुछ और है. So we need to have this unity in what we think, what we
yes.
know, and what we do. And in order to do that, see this, what you say is very true, because this is what I feel, when the people from Breastfeeding Promotion Network of India speak, they speak out of experience, and that ring of experience gives you that sense of truth in it. And that is the difference. And that is one of the reasons why we say that it is possible. Now, what I can do is I can share you our story. See, I was like all the other gynecologists. Now, apna kaam is just to deliver babies, and we feel our job ends there. And then, we had a pediatrician who was baby friendly, who wanted to make a change, and he went to get in the breastfeeding culture. So initially we had fights with him. Kaun karega? I'm not going to do it. So, we persisted, we had fights, we talked. Then, we started going through literature. And then, we said, okay, this makes sense because, as an individual, you can make a difference. And if the society has to change, the change has to come from an individual. And every one of us, if decides that, okay, I'm going to be a baby-friendly obstetrician, then probably, at least 150 people will make a change. These 150 will probably influence 150 more. And the whole society over a period of time will change. So we said that we will take that step. So we had fights. Then we said, how do we do it? So when we said that maternity unit, we can't do without the staff. So we spoke to the staff. Staff was also not ready to change because our basic nature is of inertia. Nobody wants to change.
We don't want to get out of comfort zone. Yes.
We talked to them. We gave them the advantages. They were still not convinced. Then we said, nothing doing. You have to do it. So there, the obstetrician is the captain of the ship. So we said, nothing doing. Otherwise, pay cut. So all of them said, okay, we will do it. And then we did the first case. And when they actually saw the baby doing the breast crawl, they were so thrilled and they were so involved that after that, we never had to push them. So it's that first step which is important. And once they saw that it actually happens and the difference it made to the baby and the mother, that is what pushed them ahead. So we pushed it. Then they would forget at times. Then, after some time, they would remind us, "Arey, you didn't do that. You didn't do the first cheek-to-cheek contact nahi kila." Then we said, okay, cesarean mein kya karenge? So here we started doing it for cesarean. Then we said that the contact breaks because the pediatrician, wants to examine the baby. Then we said nothing doing. So he started examining the baby on the mother's abdomen. So all these changes, started occurring as we went ahead and as we started discussing things. So what happened to us can happen to you as well.
Right.
So all you need to do is find a baby-friendly pediatrician, because see, as an obstetrician, you will not take that decision about whether the baby is healthy or not. And if something goes wrong, then you don't want to be the one to be blamed. So you must get a baby-friendly pediatrician. If he's not friendly, make him friendly. So all you need to do is just discuss and be together. Only by being together can we effect a change. And that's what the whole breastfeeding culture is about.
I fully agree. It is a teamwork, right from the paramedics to the obstetrician to the pediatrician. Everybody has to be involved, and of course the family also. Dr. Karthikeya, just before we give the pretest, there is a question in the chat box saying that there was a bit of confusion regarding antenatal evaluation of breast and nipple, and they want us to issue a position statement regarding this.
See, position statement.
I myself feel that yes, I think the breast and nipple has to be checked for two reasons. One is, of course, just to reassure the mother that all is well and that she's going to be able to do a great job for breastfeeding, which anyway she's going to do. But if you tell her, she feels much better. And secondly, as a part of the Study on Female Breast Committee, we have seen that the incidence of breast cancer is really much higher in the younger age group in India as compared to the West. And so we should not give up this opportunity of examining the breast and teaching the lady about self breast examination if possible at that time. So I think maybe we should, put
See,
out something
we'll
by the end of
probably,
today.
see, we'll have to discuss this over because, you and I as individuals have our own opinions. So, we, as, breastfeeding consultants, we believe that, you need not examine the breast in from the point of view of breastfeeding. See, when you're talking about examining the breast, you're talking in terms of disease or picking up a disease. Now, when a woman comes to you, you don't expect this. Now, if your woman has a breast needs to be her breast needs to be examined, she will give you a complaint or she will tell you. These, if you what we've found in our experience is that when you examine the breast antenatally, most of the mothers feel that if you find a problem, then their breastfeeding journey becomes difficult because they start doubting themselves whether they will be able to breastfeed or not. As far as most
Maybe
common
take a
complaints
position
are
statement
concerned.
on this because we have to take both the points into consideration because we can't separate
What I'm
breastfeeding
trying to say
and
is that the common problems of inverted nipple, retracted nipple
correct.
get solved by themselves even
Of
without
course,
examining the
we have
breast once the
that is
baby
for
starts
sure.
feeding. So
That
that
is
is
for
the
sure.
idea. Now,
We are
I
not
think
going
this
to mention.
discussion would be futile now. We'll have to address it, and we will probably only after addressing it probably will give an answer.
Yes,
So
I
let's
think
go
that's a
ahead
good
with the
idea.
test. Let's not
Yes.
spoil the program.
Yes, surely.
Hello. I hope the pre-test has been done successfully. Hello.
Is the time up for the pre-test?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So I think we have done the pre-test for today's session successfully, all the delegates. So
Okay.
let us start the first session for today.
Okay. Before we start, since we started with the question in the chat box, let me just issue one statement. We are not adamant that the breast should be examined or not during pregnancy. It depends on the focus that you have. If you feel it is important to do it because you'll find something different or something unusual, you're most welcome to do it. But from the point of view of breastfeeding, it is not going to make any difference whether you examine the breasts antenatally or not. Because most of the problems that you encounter during breastfeeding, like inverted nipple or a retracted nipple, most of them will solve themselves out once the breastfeeding starts. I think discussion will go on. We can have this point discussed at the fag end during the question answer session. So let us not hold the program for this. Is that fine, Charu? All right, go ahead.
Dr. Archana? Dr. Archana?
Charu or Karthik, I think
All right.
you can take over.
All right. We have Dr. Maninder Ahuja.
Sorry, sir, the host kept me muted. I'm so sorry for that. Thank you. So today we start with the first session. Let me welcome the chairpersons for the first session, introduction of BHI. It's my honor to welcome Dr. Maninder Ahuja ma'am, who was herself a very hard worker and not able to see. She's a director of the. Sir, can you take over? I'm not able to see because of the poor net connection. Karthikeya sir, please.
We welcome Dr. Maninder Ahuja. She's the director of the Ahuja Healthcare Dental and Infertility Setup. She's been in practice for a long time. She's been a vice president of FOMG since 2018. And she's a founder member of the South Asian Federation of Menopause Societies. She's authored many publications. She's well known in the academic circles. So I will not come between you and her. You're welcome, Dr. Ahuja. We welcome Dr. Ashish Mehta, who's a consultant neonatologist of Urban Newborn Care Center in Ahmedabad. He has a fellowship in neonatology and College of Pediatrics, Australia. At present, he is the director of the Newborn Care Center, Urban, and director of the NICU at Sterling Hospitals, Ahmedabad. He's had many awards. He's had multiple publications. So you're welcome, Dr. Ashish Mehta, and we are happy that we have a neonatologist on board. Dr. Janmejay Mahapatra is the associate professor of Department of Gynecological Oncology. He's been the vice president of FOGSI 2024. He's joint secretary of FOGSI 2011. He's been chairperson of the Clinical Research Committee. He's held multiple positions and he's won multiple awards, and he has numerous publications in the field, and his special field of interest is gynecological oncology and endoscopy. You're welcome, Dr. Mahapatra. The chairpersons can introduce the speakers. Dr. Ahuja.
Yeah, I'm not, yeah, Dr. Alka Kute. Yeah. I think first of all, I must thank FOGSI and ICOG for giving me this opportunity. And I've been attending for the last 2 days. This is the last third day of the breastfeeding week, and we have learned a lot. And especially, I appreciate the involvement of the other core specialties like pediatricians, other NGOs and institutions which are dealing with the baby-friendly hospital initiatives. So this was the requirement because some of the, along with our advancement, though we are the most evolved of the human mammals, but still we lost what was the basic instinct of the breastfeeding, and we have to go back and learn that again. So anyway, these were the wonderful webinars by Dr. ICOG team, Dr. Parul, Dr. Sarita, Dr. Sheila Mane, and Dr. Parag Biniwale. And good, I think, introduction by Dr. Mandakini Meg, who has been the soul of ICOG for some time and really worked hard for the ICOG. So our speaker today is Dr. Alka Kutte, who is the consultant obstetrician and gynecologist and medical legal advisor. And she has done her LLM criminology and PG diploma in human rights education and chairman of the IAMS medical legal cell of 2023 to 24, national coordinator of FOGSI ethics and medical legal committee, and received best committee and chairperson awards and received IMA Star Award. And she is the editor of the first book on medical legal issues and GEMLIA. I think she's the right person to be talking on the policy matters and laws regarding the infant milk substitution, feeding bottles and infant feed act, which all of us, I think, have to know, because being the, we are never taught about these acts during our undergraduate level or our postgraduate levels even. So I think the institutions, they are doing a grand work by introducing us and telling us all about these acts, because they say ignorance about law is no excuse. So we always have to know about these laws to protect ourselves, especially in the circumstances when the public and government of India is not friendly towards the doctors and medical practitioners. So Alka Kutte, I think floor is all yours. Please share your screen. And
yes, thank you, Dr. Mahendra.
Congratulations to you for your coming, winning these elections now.
Yes.
You were the
Yes.
MPP committee chairperson, as you are welcome.
Thank you so much, Mahendra.
Yeah.
So I would like to share my presentation.
Yes.
Can you see my slides?
Yes. Make them full screen. Yes.
They are full. Okay. So at the outset, let me thank ICOG team, Dr. Parag especially, of course, Dr. Parul Poddawala sir, Dr. Sarita Barerao, Dr. Sheila Mane, and Dr. Parag, and of course, my friend Dr. Karthikeyan, for giving me opportunity to speak on very important topic, IMS Act. I remember a few years back, there was one medical conference at Pune. That time, I requested Dr. Sanjay Gupta sir, the organizing chairperson of the conference. He was chairperson of medical legal committee. So I requested, sir, please allow us to deliver lecture on IMS Act. I think it was 10, 12 years back, long back, even before that. And for the first time, I think when I took the survey, very few people were knowing about what is IMS Act and what you are going to talk on IMS Act. So that was the first incidence, that the first lecture. I remember I delivered in our OBGY or rather FOGSI conference, and people were made aware about there is something like IMS Act, which regulates production, supply, and distribution of infant milk substitute, feeding bottles, and infant food. So in the beginning only, I would like to declare that I don't have any conflict of interest with any IMS manufacturing company, feeding bottles, and infant food manufacturing company. And again, I'd like to thank our, rather I should say, the person who has trained us, Dr. Prashant Dangal and BPNI Maharashtra, who contributed a lot to talk on this lecture of IMS Act. Friends, you know, breastfeeding is natural. It is instinctive and physiological. So no special efforts are required as such, because it is a natural instinct and given by God. It's a God's gift. Look at the picture. You can see all the mammals feeding their own cubs. You can see human being also feeding the baby. But at times, we come across a case where our mom feeding cow's milk or buffalo's milk in order to see her child growing like what I should say, like an animal. But we know the cow's milk is for cow's offspring, buffalo's milk for buffalo's offspring. Human milk is for human offspring. So it is called as species specific. So mammals produce the milk for their own offspring. So we have been given supercomputer. Our brain is supercomputer. Why we believe that it is only for some duration, then we should switch on to cow's milk or buffalo's milk to see our infant growing like anything. But we need to create human values, and for that human milk for human baby. We know ORS is the discovery of 20th century, but what was an art, Indian culture, it was rediscovered in 20th century. So we had forgotten the art of breastfeeding, which was natural, it is God's gift. It was Indian culture, but we forgot that. Keith Hansen, official person from World Bank, has said, breastfeeding is breastfeeding. He said, if breastfeeding did not already exist, someone who invented it today, means that day when he wrote this statement, would deserve a dual Nobel Prize in medicine and economics. That shows the importance of breastfeeding from medicine point of view and economics point of view. Look at the beautiful picture of breastfeeding mother. The child is very happy. Mother is also very happy. This is a picture by a famous artist, Leonardo da Vinci. That shows the satisfaction of the mother and the child when accepting the breast milk and when breastfeeding the child. But what happened? There was some onslaught of media. In the 21st century, we forgot our own culture. There was cultural invasion. There was aggressive marketing of promotion of infant milk substitute, formulas, and feeding bottle. Formula were made easily available. And again, we can see books like this. The book is titled as Good Parenting. But what the picture shows, the baby is listening to music. There is some earphones, and feeding bottle is given in his hands. So you can understand the serious nature of this case, rather, we should say. So again, the question I would like to ask the parents or the person who has written this book, what are the advantages of commercial? I think the August delegate or the gathering who is there to listen to this lecture, they will say there is not a single advantage of commercial food. There are all disadvantages of commercial food. Again, the condition, looking at the invasion, cultural invasion and marketing by the infant milk formulas and milk substitute and feeding bottles. International code was established, and the International Code of Marketing of Infant Formula and Breast Milk Substitute, it was adopted by World Health Assembly on 21st May 1981. So it was 21st May 1981, the year when actually the work on IMS Act, rather some care was taken to avoid this cultural invasion towards the marketing of infant formulas and in IMS, in mother milk substitute. So again, what we can see the international code. What it says, if at all one has to go for formula or infant food or something, some product for baby, it must inform the advantages of breastfeeding. There should be no free samples or gifts given to the worker, ANCs, or anybody concerned with breastfeeding. Teats, bottles, substitutes are not banned. They are given, but of course, there should be some regulation of production, supply, and distribution. Every country marketing baby food should have their own laws to regulate promotion and sales, production, supply, and distribution. There should be no picture of infants and mothers on these products because they will be harmful for the infant as well as mother as far as breastfeeding is concerned. Advertising to public is avoided. So international code includes so many things in the name international code. It should tell costs and dangers of artificial feeding. Information, whatever given or printed on the label, should be scientific, factual, and unbiased. It should have own specific, this country should have own specific rules when they regulate the production, supply, and distribution. No promotion of unsuitable products. Advice to the mother should be by co-personnel, but not by company personnel. So all these things are regulated by this international code. Otherwise, what will do this company personnel? He can approach to any mother and give advice. So there should be no advice by the company personnel to mother. Labels should be according to the code. So all these things are given in the international code. which was accepted by Assembly in 1981. Why the IMS Act? There was improper marketing practices through advertisements that led to reduction of breastfeeding rates, that led to again malnutrition, morbidity and mortality. Government of India enacted the IMS Act after looking at this, infant morbidity and mortality in 1992. It sought to regulate the production, supply, and distribution of infant milk substitutes, feeding bottles, and infant foods. So, what is governed by IMS Act? Infant milk substitutes, feeding bottles, and infant foods. The Act was very important, was enacted in 1992. It set out some requirements such as labeling on containers. So, certain provisions are there which guide everything as regards to labels on containers. The Parliament passed this Act in 1992. It is called as Infant Milk Substitutes, Feeding Bottles, and Infant Foods, Regulation of Production, Supply, and Distribution Act 1992. It's a Parliament Act passed in the Parliament, very important Act. One must know all provisions of the Act. DPNI, Akash, ICCW, CSW, these are the associations which were notified in the Gazette in the year 1995. They were given the authority of monitoring the implementation of IMS Act. Again, even after enactment, there was violation. The companies tried to see the loopholes of the IMS Act, and again there was invasion in the era of breastfeeding, rather mother and child. So, looking at the loopholes in the Act, the need for amendment was there because of the loopholes. There was again infant formulas, infant milk substitutes, and infant food. They were advised to the mother. Even the nurses used to tell about all these things to the mother. So that created less confidence in breastfeeding mother, and naturally homemade food was avoided. Rather, the formulas were preferred in place of homemade food. Therefore, a national task force was formed, and it suggested necessary amendments in the IMS Act 1992. These amendments came into force from 1st January 2004. They came into force from 1st January 2004, but they were suggested in June 2003. So, IMS Act was amended in June 2003. The original IMS Act 1992 and Amendment Act June 2003. You can see the picture from Bahubali. Look at the picture. She is feeding the twin babies. I have not seen the picture, but I know this picture very well. So it is shown that the mother can breastfeed twin babies, even triplet, whatever number of babies, the milk is produced as per the requirement. So production and demand, supply and demand. There is always the relation between supply and demand. So one should not think that because she is having twin babies, whether she will be able to breastfeed. She can breastfeed twins, she can breastfeed triplets. So who is going to do? Who is going to govern all these things? Whether the child himself or herself, but the child cannot talk. Child parents, they don't have any authority, but they need lot of counseling. Again, health workers, they don't have authority, but again, they can get educated and trained what to be given, what not to be given. Policy makers role very important because they sit in the cabinet room. They have to they decide the policy, what is implemented at grassroots level. So the role of policy makers and government is very important as far as monitoring and implementation of the act is concerned. Again, Innocenti Declaration on Infant and Young Child Feeding, it was in 2005. It said inappropriate feeding practices remain the greatest threat to child health and survival globally. So again, there was a declaration by this organization. It is very popular, and you can go on online. So what has been a serious nature of this crime? They say those who violate IMS Act or those who feed the baby by formula or by infant milk substitute or cows and buffalo's milk, they should be regarded as criminals, and some punishment should be given to them. So it is like a serious nature of the crime if at all you break the IMS Act. So one must not, one must follow the IMS Act not only by words, by spirit as well. So spirit as well as words, both are important. So what are the highlights of IMS Act? It prohibits any kind of promotion of infant milk substitute, feeding bottle, and infant formula or infant food below 2 years. It educates pregnant and lactating women about breastfeeding. It restricts and controls the use of infant milk substitute and infant foods. Define the role and responsibility of healthcare institutions and health workers. So production is there, but regulation is important. Regulation of production, supply, and distribution has to be there. And these are the things which is done by government. And of course, we are health workers and whoever is concerned with the babies and mothers' health. So what is banned by IMS Act? It bans all forms of promotion of baby food by manufacturers for babies under 2 years of age. The Act bans commercial promotion of baby food for consumption of children under the age of 2 years. The promotion is banned. All advertisements in any media. So the Act bans all advertisements in print media, in electronic media about the IMS. There is infant milk substitute, infant formula, and infant food. So advertisement is banned. It bans gifts and free samples to mothers and healthcare providers. Some people, they try to just visit the indoor ward. They give some dukta and whatever, zabla and all those things close to the baby and seeking their attention that they are helping them. But at the same time, they just give some pocket that she can, instead of breastfeeding, she can feed the baby with this powder. And that's the invasion of the mothers and babies' rights. So all these pre-sample gifts are banned by IMS Act. If you come across such gifts are being given in a hospital, can always complain to BPNI. It bans donation of educational material, equipment, or baby foods. So any equipment given to the ward, any educational material distributed in the ward to mothers and staffs and nursing, anybody in the ward, it is banned under the IMS Act. So all these things are very important because we take care of the mother as well as baby in our nursing home. We have to take care of baby as well as mother. So we should, all these things are banned. We must know. Picture of the mother or baby on the labels of baby foods. It regulates the size of the picture, what to be written, what to be in bold letters. Anywhere breastfeeding should not be undermined. So breast milk is the best nutrient or nutrition for baby. It should not get masked anywhere. So it gives attention to this labeling and whatever printing is there. Sponsorship and displays in the healthcare system. What is banned? Funding of seminars, meetings, conferences, educational courses, countries, fellowships, research work, sponsorship. I know 3-4 years back, I had to request my fellow colleagues, please don't go ahead with this program because it was sponsored by a company which manufactures infant milk substitute, infant food. So we had to request, and my colleagues, they responded very well to my request and they stopped the program. Even in the same time, same way, pediatricians were involved in such program, but we requested to the pediatrician, they stopped the program. So any sponsoring, any sponsorship by these formula making companies, infant milk substitute companies, or bottle manufacturing companies is prohibited by IMS Act. Payment of commission to staff by companies for propagation of promoting sales. They can give certain amount to staff. Just whatever sale, 10 packets of the that I don't want to take the name of the infant formula also or infant food. If you sell 10 such packets, you will get 1,000. So all this promotion, all these commissions for staff is banned by IMS Act. Products which are covered under Act, already I discussed these, infant milk substitutes, feeding bottles, and infant foods, they are banned below 2 years as per the provisions of the IMS Act. Okay, so these are the different sections. Section 21 is very important for all of us. It refers to the power of the court and procedure of prosecution. So we violate the Act. Section 21 decides what punishment should be given to the person who violates the IMS Act.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt you, but your time is up.
Yeah, only last 2-3 slides.
Yeah.
So section 21 we must keep in mind. So again, World Assembly resolutions are there, but I will not speak on this. Already they have adopted the international code. So in spite of the IMS Act, media still can't go on violating the, you can see the picture of Ranveer Kapoor. Before the delivery, before he had his baby, the program was showing he was feeding the baby with bottle. The impact was very bad. What they wanted to convey is how much caring the attitude of Ranveer Kapoor. But the impression was wrong. The people thought they can feed their babies with bottle. Same thing, Hardik Pandya, after returning from that World Cup, he is taking care of the babies, nice part of the parenthood, but he is feeding with the bottle. So all these violations, we must report to the BPNA organization, and we see that the next day it is removed. So all such efforts we must do for the sake for the betterment of child and mother. So all these programs, you can see the advertisement and a leaflet regarding the invitation card. We just wanted to stop the program and they stopped the program. So again, last 2 slides, we must try our best to resist commercial promotion, remove ads with brand names or logos, refuse growth charts, literatures given to the mother or the staff, refuse free gifts and samples, resist sponsorship from infant milk formula companies, resist any other way of promotion, resist use of formula for orphanages. IMSAT monitoring has to be there, and these are the organizations like BPNI and Akash. There are 3-4 organizations. They wanted they monitor the implementation of IMSAT. But again, FOGSI, IMA, IIP IYCF of chapter of IIP, we are requested that we should have some authority or power so that we can monitor. If we violate the provisions of the IMSAT, you can see fine not less than 2,000, which may extend to 5,000. Again, imprisonment not 6 months, it can get extended to 3 years. So 3 years and 5,000 is the penalty. So BPNI, Akash, Indian Council of Child Welfare, ICCW, Central Social Welfare Board, these are the companies which monitor the implementation of Act. Others are requested for monitoring. So friends, I will stop here. We pledge to promote, support and protect breastfeeding. That's the right of the mother and of course the child. This was the scene we saw at Bangalore airport when we went for workshop in 2011. And we requested the chief person there. And by the time we returned back from this workshop, this board at Bangalore airport was removed. So that shows the interest of the government and of course the promotion or other interference, good interference for the betterment of the baby. This advertisement for mileage. This advertisement was for mileage, good mileage. They wanted to say because of the good mileage, the cars will run like with minimum amount of petrol. But they are showing again bottle and either that babies with another person. So this type of advertisement create bad impression. They think bottle is good because the feeding is with bottle only and mother did not spare her time. So this advertisement we must ban. If at all we come across such advertisement, we must report to BPNI. So friends, breastfeeding was best, is best, and will remain best for infant feeding. We must carry on certain messages. It's a natural, instinctive, physiological. It's a mother's right and child's birthright. We should not be blind followers of the Western style. Parents and health workers concept must be clear. Then only we can guide our mothers. Only law is not the answer because there can be certain loopholes in the law. Again, lactation counselors, mother support group, and even father support group, they play a very important role in IYCA practices. We can have human bill bank in our own city, and we should always be activists. But at the same time, we should not be an extremist and never to be a terrorist. We have to promote breastfeeding, but at the same time, have good counseling, good rapport with the mother and the child. So thank you very much for patient listening. So let us take pledge today that we'll follow all the provisions of IMSAT. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alka ma'am. I would invite Dr. Maninder Ahuja madam's comment, if any. And
Yeah.
people are asking, what is the punishment, madam, exactly what has been given?
Yes, Dr. Alka Kutte, I think it was a wonderful talk, but naturally it's a long act. It has many sections and many provisions for punishment also. So you have covered nicely that no free samples to the doctors, no advertising is there. So they have to tell about the cost and about dangers, and then no sponsorship our workshops, our research work, our conferences or seminars is there. So what is the punishment, as somebody was asking in the, I think, chat box also, if we don't do what is how the doctors are being involved, what is violation for us?
Imprisonment.
What is violation us? Because if the mother is not able to feed, can we give the breast formula, these formula feeds or not? In what situations we can give, and what situations we will be punished? What will be called the violation of the act?
See, unless it is prescribed by pediatrician, no one should try to give formula or any infant milk substitute. Only one patient in 1 lakh, they will lack breast milk. But otherwise, 99,999, they can very well breastfeed, provided they require help because they have some misconceptions, some wrong guidance from the other people at home. So we must guide the people. But if at all, if anything is required, they are the pediatricians who will guide the mother, not the company or company MR. He cannot guide. So pediatricians and of course gynecologists who are there to guide the mother. So without their prescription, nobody should go for any formula or infant milk substitute.
So first thing is that the prescription
I
of
think
the
we are
pediatrician
running
is
short of
required.
time.
Yeah,
But
madam, we
but
can
there's just one question, because the pediatricians come, neonatologists, they do visit us, but then they leave it. Then the baby is on, mother is with us, whether she is able to breastfeed or not. So that was the point. So can we put her on for 1 or 2 days for the formula milk, or we should give the other natural milk?
No, madam,
Madam,
it's not
formula
required.
feed should be used as medicines. So it needs to be prescribed. Formula feed should be used as medicine
Okay,
and
it
not a
is used
substitute for mother's milk. I think
Okay.
that is what we need to stress. So it's not that you can't give or you don't give. You give it only when it is necessary. Because one formula feed will, lead to 2 breastfeeds being deleted. I think
If
we
we
don't have much
initiate,
time, so let's carry on with the next session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you,
We'll
sir.
take the
Well, can
questions
we,
later if we have time.
yeah, we can invite the next speaker, Dr. Deepti Manindra ma'am.
Yeah, our next speaker is Dr. Deepti Shah. She's a lactation consultant and she's a food technology and MSD leader, international board certified lactation consultant, and works experience is 25 years. She's current attachment is office coordinator for BPNI Maharashtra and Cloud9 Hospital Mumbai LC and Kokila Ben Dhirubhai Ambani Hospital Mumbai. And special areas of interest are helping mothers in breastfeeding in maternity home and after discharge, normal babies, special need babies and mother, training of healthcare staff, IBCLC training programs, BHFI training and assessment, and handing project of IYCN. I don't understand this IYCN project, she'll tell. And received Dr. N.B. Kumta Award 2016. And I'm as lactation consultant. So Deepti, please project IYNC, please highlight on that.
Yeah.
Please share your screen.
It's infant and
Yes.
young
Welcome
child
to this.
nutrition.
Yeah, ICOG FOGSI project on breastfeeding.
Thank you, Ahuja madam. Thank you, Ahuja madam, for my introduction. Can you audible me? Can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible. You are
Thank you,
audible.
thank
You
you,
can go
madam.
ahead.
Yes. So I'll just share my screen because lack of time. So we'll not waste much time. You can see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Yes.
Okay.
Step 1.
Yes. So at the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Karthik Bhagat sir, ICOG team for giving me the opportunity to present today's topic in today's session. And my topic is step number 1B and step number 1C. Step number 1B is have a written breastfeeding policy that is routinely communicated to staff and the parents. Okay, so there is a difference between the 10 steps and the policy. So some people display the 10 steps and they understand that this is the policy. No, the 10 steps are different and the policy is different. 10 step is made by WHO and UNICEF, and based on the 10 steps, the hospital has to create their own policy. For example, the 10 steps, out of 10 steps, the step number 3 says that discuss the importance and management of breastfeeding with pregnant women and their family. But the policy will say that in our hospital facility, before delivery guidance for the appropriate baby care and successful breastfeeding is offered every month, first Monday between 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. at OPD area. So this is just an example. So like this, in each and every step, the hospital create their own policy and then they should display in the OPD area and the different area so that the mother should understand that which type of practices are this hospital is doing and which type of help she is going to get. Now, why the policy is important? Policy derives practice, policy drives practice. Healthcare providers and the institutions are required to follow the established policy. It says that appropriate care is equitably provided to all the mothers and the babies and is not dependent on the preferences of each care provider. Written policy receive consistent evidence-based care and an essential tool for staff accountability. It helps to sustain the practices over the time and communicate a standard set of expectations. Now, how to implement this policy? The facility should have a written breastfeeding policy, and that should address all 8 key clinical practice of the 10 steps. So in the 10 steps, first 2 steps is on critical care management procedure, and remaining 8 steps are on the clinical practice. So hospital has to, in the policy, they should convey all these 8 steps. And whenever they prepare any policy, the font size should be good enough. It should not happen that, you are preparing a policy which is very small in size and maybe A4 size paper and displayed in some corner area. And even the staff members is not aware that there is a policy lying in our facility. That should not happen. So for policy, the size of the policy should be good enough. It should be visible. You should you should use a font which is, readable. You can split your policy because this policy becomes sometimes too big. And then in one set, if you are going to use, then it will, cover the whole wall. So you can split also. You can use some pictures in the policy so that becomes very easy to understand for the normal mother. The most important thing should be that the policy must clearly state that free for subsidized supplies infant formula are not accepted. Like whatever the Madam Malka Kutte right now, she took very well session on that. So this step is very important and this step should be displayed in the policy and this is must. It should be displayed in the important areas like antenatal OPD area or a well baby clinic or postnatal ward, waiting area, NICU, or wherever you feel that this area is very important where the mother and the relatives can sit and they can have a look. There you should display your policy. And when you use a policy, it should be in the local language. Sometimes it may be possible that, you are creating your policy in the English language and the mother is not able to read at all. So it is better to use the local language so that the normal mother can read this policy. Like this is the example of one of the policy which is, used in the municipal hospital. So this you can see, but again here also there are too many steps are written in one paper. But again, they have split it also and then they have used the local language also. Fine. Now, this is a very good booklet and this was published in 2018, the implementation guideline on baby-friendly hospital. And this booklet says that the global standard for the policy is policy that addresses the implementation of all 8 key clinical practices of the 10 step, plus it should cover the code implementation and the regular competency assessment. It confirms that the summary of the policy is visible to the pregnant woman and the mother and their family in line with the BFHI standards and the current evidence-based guideline. And 80% of the staff should know where is the policy and they should be able to explain that what is the policy and what are the steps written in that policy. So this was about the policy. Now I'm going ahead with the step number 1C. Step number 1C is establishing ongoing monitoring and data management system. Sometimes we think that whatever we are doing in our hospital, we are giving the best practice, we are doing the best practice and we are giving all the facility towards mothers. But it is not like that. We should always assess ourselves that what exactly we are doing. That is why this data monitoring is very important. Facility providing maternity and newborn services integrate recording and the monitoring of the clinical practices related to the breastfeeding into their quality improvement and monitoring system. So recording, data monitoring is very, very important. At least 2 important indicators you should do, like early initiation of breastfeeding and exclusive breastfeeding, because these are the most important area we have to focus. So each and every hospital should do at least 2 important indicators they should measure, like how many mothers are at the time of discharge are giving exclusive breastfeeding and how many babies are initiated within 1 hour. These 2 indicators are very important. Along with these 2 indicators, you can use some more indicators also, like antenatal session, how many mothers are attending antenatal session. These are the different ways you can monitor yourself. Now, how to implement this data management? So routinely tracking is very important of the mother-infant pair. For example, you have 40 deliveries in your maternity hospital. So in the month, you have a 40 deliveries. So out of 40, at least you should be able to say that, you know, these many mothers are able to breastfeed exclusively at the time of discharge, and this many babies got the. So this is how you should do the tracking also. And this tracking should be routinely. It is not like randomly you are doing. Recording of the information on this indicator should be incorporated into the medical chart. So whatever the information you are getting from the mother, that you should record, and you should prepare a register also. And you should do the progress at least every 6 months, not necessarily that every 6 months you will do. If you are doing monthly, that will be the best. But if not monthly, at least you should do quarterly or 6 monthly. Now, apart from so the booklet says that the data collection, how to collect the data. So these are different ways you can collect the data. Number one is they say that you can take the interview of the mothers. So especially the person who is not directly involved in the care, like suppose you are appointing some person who is already working in the postnatal ward. So that person cannot take the interview of the mother, but somebody from the administrative department take the interview of the mother. So at the time of discharge, you can ask some question to the mother, like 4 or 5 questions, not more. Like whether the breastfeeding was initiated, to kitne baje delivery hua, and then when the baby was initiated on your breast. So something like a simple question you can prepare, and then you can do the tick mark. So it will not take more than 5 minutes also. Or else you can prepare a questionnaire, and you can give it to mother, and mother may, it can be a multiple choice question like 1 घंटे के अंदर दिया, 2 घंटे के अंदर दिया, something like that. And mother will do just the tick mark. This is the different ways you can create a data collection. Or if you are really very good with the, you can prepare your SMS through SMS also. If you have an app in your hospital or something like that, that also you can do. In Western countries, this is very important. They do follow all these things. But in India, we I think so, nobody has tried all these things. Now the data collection in, this is a very simple tool. I think Dr. Kartik Bhagat sir hospitals is following this format. So, this is I found this is very practical, and it covers all the mothers also, like number of mothers. So if you have 30 mothers, you can write down the name of the mother. So delivery by cesarean or a normal delivery. So initiated within 1 hour, yes or no. Exclusive breastfeeding at the time of discharge, yes or no. And at the end of the month, you can calculate that percentage also. Yeah. Where I'm working, there we do follow this type of data management practice. So here, we write down the date of the delivery, and then number of, this is the room number, name of the mother. Then you can see the weight of the baby, first day weight, second day weight, third day weight at the time of discharge. And then you can see the morning, evening, and night. So this chart actually prepared by this chart is, the nursing staff is filling up this chart. So they do tick mark if the mother is doing only breastfeeding. But if the mother is giving, formula milk is given to the baby, then they write down why the formula milk has given to this child. So this can be A, B, C, D, E. So A stands for GDM mother, B stands for IUGR, C stands for nil lactation, D stands for the baby is very big, E stands for on request of the family, and F stands for some other reason, maybe the inverted nipple or something else. So if the A, B, C, D is marking is there, then next day morning we come to know that this baby was given a formula milk because this was the reason. And at the end, we just do the remark and then calculation at the end that how many mothers, how many babies, and how many babies got the formula milk, and how many babies discharged on the exclusive breastfeeding. So these are the different ways you can calculate the data. Now, monthly discussion is very important. So I would like to share that when I went for the assessment in one of the municipal hospital, so dean ke office ke piche there was a blackboard, and in that blackboard, so this is just, I have given you the picture. It's not exactly this blackboard, but something like this. And here, the initiation rate, exclusive breastfeeding rate, antenatal mothers attended, and then she used to write here like June month, July month, August month, and she used to compare all the data. I found that it is so nicely made by, the thought process was so good that the dean was always having a check on the data that what exactly their hospital is following. Now the criteria, minimum 20 mothers. If you have a municipal hospital or a big setup, at least you should take a 20 mothers data. And if you have a small setup, you can collect all the mothers in your data, and you should get the result of at least 80%. Now, the last thing is, you have to plan some activity. For example, you want to plan that my hospital, 80% of the mothers should attend the antenatal session. First, you should plan that I want to achieve these criteria first. So then plan, do the action, do the study, and then act. If it is not happening, then you can decide your own goal. And this is how you can take one by one, step by step, all the plan. And the last thing I'm going to discuss about how to make your hospital baby friendly. Okay, so this is the process of making the hospital baby friendly. First thing is the self-assessment form. So when you are going for the assessment, the hospital has to fill up the self-assessment form. This is the self-assessment form. Just a minute, I'll show you. Yeah, this is the self-assessment form, which the hospital facility can, pediatrician, obstetrician, nursing staff, admin staff, everyone can sit together and then they can check that what are the practices they are following. After doing the self-assessment form, they can invite the assessor. So in the first visit, when they have the assessment, there is 2 steps. Step number 1 is taking the sensitizations workshop. And step number 2 is taking the interview. So if the 4 assessors are there, so maybe 2 assessors will take the sensitization workshop. In that workshop, all the stakeholders like obstetrician, pediatrician, neonatologist, or the admin staff, nursing staff, IABI, everybody will attend this session. And the other set of assessor may go in the ward and they take the interview. The interview is with the mother. So when they take the the sensitization workshop, the assessor may ask some question to the doctors and the nursing staff, and the other set of assessor will ask some question to the mother. Maybe the same question they will ask to all 3 categories. And if the mother will say that, yes, I got my baby got breastfeeding within 1 hour, that will be the final answer. If the mother will say, no, my baby got breastfeeding on day 2, and the doctor and the nursing staff will say that we are giving all the baby within 1 hour. So the assessor will not rely on the nursing staff and the doctor's staff, the answer. They will always rely on the mother's answer. So this is what it happens in the first interview. And after the interview, they will take the round of the hospital. Especially this round is made for, to check whether the hospital is following the IMS Act or not following the IMS Act. And also they assess the written material what you are providing to your, mothers. So they will check the file. What are the things it has written on the file? If something is wrong, then they can suggest you later on. Then after all the assessment and the sensitization workshop, the assessor will fill up the form and then they will suggest you. Like, out of 10 steps, your hospital is doing very good in 6 steps, but 4 steps you need to do some changes. And then the hospital may take 3 months time or 4 months time. And then during that time, the hospital get the certificate of commitment. And maybe after 3-4 months time, everything gets settled and the hospital feel that now we are doing much better. They can call again this assessor. And then in the second visit, they will do only the assessment. They will not do any sensitization workshop in the second meeting. And then the final certification will be done. So this is the process of making the hospital baby friendly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for this important information. Dr. Manindra, ma'am, your comments, and then we'll proceed to second.
Yeah, I think these acts are still to be understood to a large extent because they are quite new to us. Most probably the pediatricians are more dealing with that rather than the obstetricians, because we don't care about the babies for that long period. Normally we discharge, and if we have to keep them in the services, then they are transferred to the pediatrician or NICU units only. So for us, it's a little difficult because you have to make the policies and all that. So that is for the hospitals to make, and we have to follow those policies. So as far as the 10 steps of breastfeeding is concerned, I think that is fine with us. And next, whatever the policies are made, we should be following them. That is very important as an obstetrician or as a NICU specialist. Dr. Karthik, can you add on something?
True, madam. What you say is true, and that is where we need to change. Both, see, baby-friendly setup cannot be achieved without the obstetrician and the pediatrician working hand in hand.
Yes.
So, unless you have a baby-friendly pediatrician, and if you have a policy which you intend to follow, things will not work out. And that is 1 or 2 steps does not give you as much impact as implementing all the 10 steps. And that's why this baby hospital initiative came up. And that is what we are trying to offer. So do
So
everything together.
We have a long way to go.
No, but we need to start. Baby steps
Yeah,
are what we are
first
talking
step is always important, I think, and it's very good that we are highlighting these things. Alkakute, there is that question repeatedly being asked about the punishment if you offense of that IMS Act is there.
madam.
So I just put up the first offense is the 2,000 rupees fine and 1 year imprisonment, and after that 5,000 rupees fine and 5 years.
That was extended to 6 months to extended to 3 years.
3 years.
2,000 extended to 5,000. So if it is repeat offense, fine will be increased, imprisonment will increase.
Yeah. So at least one message for the gynecologists is don't take any sponsorship from these companies for any webinars or your conferences or seminars or research work even. Because on the name of research work, they can also entice you. And of course, the gifts in the past, they were giving a lot of huggies and baby powders and everything, and the nutritional formulas for the mothers, also everything, so that their milk products or substitutes could be sold. So at least these acts now have stopped those practices. So
thank you, Manindra ma'am. Thank you for this insight. And I think you are very rightly saying that baby steps are the important things to way to go. So thank you, sir, for the inputs. Thank you, speakers, Dr. Alka ma'am and Dr. Deepti. We proceed to the second session now, which will be community lactation management centers. And we'll be learning about the milk banks and the maternal infections. Let me call for the chairpersons for this session, Dr. Sujata Mishra ma'am, Dr. Geeta Palsarkar ma'am, and Dr. Neeraj Jadhav sir. So Dr. Sujata Mishra madam is a professor and unit head of Department of OBGYN, Superintendent PGIMR, Bhubaneswar, Odisha. She has held the position of Vice President during the FOGSI 2015. And her special recognition is Principal Investigator, Co-Investigator, and Radhanath Award for Humanitarian Services. And Madam has got many publications, NEM, BMI, UOG, IMA journals. Our next chairperson is Dr. Geeta ma'am, who is Professor Unit Chief at Vadia Maternity Hospital, Secretary Mumbai Obstetric and Gynec Society, past Editor-in-Chief, Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology of India, past President Association of Medical Women of India, President Mumbai Menopause Society, Chairperson Young Talent Promotion Committee 2013 to 16, and also recipient of Hargobind Foundation Fellowship for Study of Fetal Medicine in 2008. And our third chairperson, Dr. Neeraj Jadhav. He is a past chairperson, Sexual Medicine Committee, also received the prize for the same, past vice president, Rajkot Menopause Society. He was West Zone coordinator of FOGSI Adolescent Committees 2016-19, Secretary Rajkot Menopause Society and Obstetric Society, Rajkot, and ex-committee member of IME Rajkot 2050. He has been organizing secretary to SOGO 2014, ROGS Annual Conference 2016-17, organizing chairperson West Zone UF FOGSI, and organizing chairperson midterm SOGO 2016. Over to you, chairpersons, for the next session, and we'll be talking about the milk bank. So, are the chairpersons available with us?
Yes, I am there.
Yeah. So, kindly introduce Dr. Neeraj.
So, I'm privileged to introduce our next speaker, that is Dr. Swati Manekar. She is professor and head of the department and the Department of Neonatology at the Sion Hospital, Mumbai. PG teacher and examiner for the DM Neonatology, Fellowship in Neonatology, American Board of Certified Practice
Dr. Archana, I think sir has lost his connection.
Can we proceed with the first talk by Dr. Swati ma'am?
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. I will quickly share my slides.
So when we are talking about...
Are my slides visible and am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are visible, and just put it on the show mode. So we'll be talking about human milk banking. Over to you, Swati ma'am. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so good evening, everyone, and thank you for inviting me and allowing me to share a presentation on human milk banking. So we all understand that breastfeeding rates in India are improving, though we hope that they improve much more than what we see them now. Our early initiation rates at present are 55% in Maharashtra. Exclusive breastfeeding rates for 6 months stand at 74%, and there is still scope for improvement in all these rates. We do also understand there is a fair number of babies who cannot access mother's own milk for various reasons. And it is for these babies that the WHO recommends that donor human milk through human milk banks is the next best alternative. The government of India now recognizes and recommends a 3-tier system for lactation management and support. And this is recommended to be carried out through a basic lactation support unit to be established at every delivery point, where lactation counseling and breastfeeding initiation is assisted for every mother. Above this would be a lactation management center, which is recommended to be established at all district hospitals, large sub-district hospitals, which have functional special newborn care units, where along with lactation counseling and breastfeeding initiation, one would also help the mother stimulate her breast in case her baby is not in a position to breastfeed directly, express through electric breast pumps, collect her own milk, store it for her own baby, and use it for her own baby whenever the baby is in a position to be fed. In medical colleges with NICUs and large district hospitals which have a high delivery load, the government recommends establishment of a human milk bank, which is christened now by the government as a comprehensive lactation management center, which will, in addition to all these aspects, also look at processing of milk so that we can feed one mother's baby with some other mother's milk with all the safety precautions in place. So what is a comprehensive lactation management center or a milk bank? It is a service which is established to recruit breast milk donors. And here we would collect donor milk, screen and process this milk, store the milk and distribute it to infants who are in need. So there are various processes which are carried out in a human milk bank, and we will go over them quickly over the next 15 to 20 minutes. The first step is screening donor mothers. So who can donate milk? Every healthy lactating mother can donate milk if she is making milk in excess of whatever is produced for her own baby. But there are certain checks which we have in place, which include a thorough history and general examination for any acute or chronic illness, if the mom is on any medications or drugs, if she's a recipient of organ or tissue transplant in the last 12 months, if she has received blood or blood products in the last 12 months, if she has any high-risk behavior, and if she has any abnormal breast examination, this mom would not be eligible to donate milk. Along with this, it's mandatory in our country to test the mothers for HIV, hepatitis B, and VDRL. The other tests are not compulsory in India so far. So any healthy lactating mother who is willing to donate milk can donate after giving a written informed consent. It is very important to obtain a written consent. Here, we must ensure that the mother understands her responsibility in maintaining the safety and quality of the donor milk and its intended use. She must be informed that this milk will not be returned to her. She will not receive any compensation for the donation, nor is there any incentivization for the donation. And these consent forms need to be stored in a locked cupboard as a proof of agreement to donate. The next thing is milk collection. So the mother can either hand express the milk, or this expression can be carried out with the help of hospital grade milk pumps. It's either is okay. It depends on the comfort of the mother and what suits the system. Additionally, it helps mother relieve her of engorgement. It helps her maintain lactation when the baby is sick. It also improves the production of milk, and this milk can be stored and fed to the baby if the mother is away for a while. How do we transport donor milk which is collected? It's important to maintain the cold chain. Transportation should be done in insulated ice boxes. And if the transportation is likely to happen beyond a few hours, it's advisable to store these containers in a refrigerator or a freezer. When the milk after transportation reaches the milk bank, it is checked for correct labeling. It's checked for any obvious foreign matter or visible contamination. And the record forms which come with this milk are noted and again recorded in a register. Since we follow a cross-sectional system of human milk banking, which means one mother can donate once and probably never again, or she may donate on a regular basis on several occasions. And multiple mothers can donate on a single day, and the milk from all these donors can be pooled together. So we recommend that milk from 3 to 5 different donors is pooled into one batch. And this pooling should preferably be done under aseptic precautions. This pooling should be done under aseptic precautions in a laminar airflow or a biosafety cabinet. As you can see in the video on the left, this is milk which is being pooled under a biosafety cabinet. We make a batch of 1 liter, swirl it to homogenize it, and inspect it for any visual contamination. Thereafter, the milk is now aliquoted into containers of equal volumes, so that each container is subjected to the same kind of heat treatment during pasteurization. This is all being done under a laminar airflow or a biosafety cabinet. After this aliquoting is done, 1 ml of milk will be drawn as a pre-pasteurization culture and will be marked as pre-pasteurization sample. And then these containers will move into the shaker water bath or a pasteurizer immediately for the pasteurization process. How do we pasteurize? We use the Holder method of pasteurization, where milk is heated and held at 62.5 degrees for 30 minutes, followed by flash cooling to 25 degrees Celsius within 10 minutes, and then over the next 30 minutes to 4 degrees Celsius. Post pasteurization, again, 1 ml of milk sample is drawn for a post pasteurization testing, and then this milk is moved into the freezer section of the refrigerator and stored at minus 20 degrees Celsius. This is an automated pasteurizer which is being loaded with bottles of equal capacity. This here, the milk will be gently shaken so that there is equal heat distribution provided to all the containers. It will go through a heating cycle followed by a rapid cooling cycle, after which it will be brought out of the pasteurizer. Once this is done, like I said, we would take a post-pasteurization sample. One must also make sure that when these samples get transported to the microbiology lab, they are also, we try and keep the cold chain maintained so that the exposure to room temperatures does not facilitate growth of any organisms. Pasteurized milk should always be kept in a separate compartment or a separate freezer and should not be used till a negative lab result for both the pre and post pasteurization cultures is available. So in our institute, we have a separate fridge to store the raw human milk, a separate freezer to store the milk while the reports are awaited, and then an entirely different freezer to keep the pasteurized donor milk, which has cleared microbiological testing. These are the different drawers in which labeled bottles are stored. What are the criteria for discarding human milk? If the pre-pasteurization culture shows Staph aureus count of more than 10 raised to 4 colony forming units per ml, or a commensal growth of more than 10 raised to 5 colony forming units per ml, the entire batch of 1 liter is discarded. If we see even a single colony in the post-pasteurization sample of a particular bottle, that bottle is discarded. Air bubbles, if visible, indicate that the milk container did not have a very secure cap or was not properly sealed. Such bottles could be discarded. And these clear bottles where the pre and post reports are negative can be stored for up to 6 months in the safe to consume section at minus 20 degrees Celsius. It's very important that the labels are made very clearly, which show a very clear serial number of the container, hospital details, batch, aliquot serial number, the date of pasteurization, and most importantly, the date of expiry, which is 6 months from the date of pasteurization. Who should receive human milk? So these criteria also have to be very clearly defined. When we dispense human milk, it always is dispensed with the principle of first in, first out. It is also given only on doctor's prescription. Once it is issued, it should be transported to the NICU in a cold chain. And the dispensed milk can be fed to a baby only after a recipient consent from the mother, father, or the legal guardian is obtained. And again, such printed forms are available in the unit where we take written consent from the legal guardian. Before feeding, this frozen milk is thawed in the refrigerator section to minus 4 degrees Celsius, and then it to 4 degrees Celsius where it liquefies, and then brought out and then brought to 37 degrees Celsius and then fed to the baby using all aseptic techniques. Allocation of human milk and recipient prioritization is extremely vital because human milk is a very scarce resource. We understand that not all babies in any hospital or any NICU can be provided with donor human milk because we need to prioritize the very premature, very low birth weight babies or growth retarded babies. If there is an excess of milk available, only then it can be offered to the bigger babies or the more mature babies in the unit. So in our unit, we use a policy of exclusive human milk feeding, either mother's own milk or if that is not available, donor human milk to be provided to every baby who is less than 32 weeks and who is less than 1500 grams. In addition, if there is a contraindication to feeding mother's own milk, then this baby may be offered donor milk. Or then sometimes if there is more volume available, then we can offer it, we do offer it to babies who are a little larger as well. So this is a visual representation of the process of milk banking where it starts with donor screening, registration and consent, expression, then transportation to the milk bank with the cold chain ensured. Then there is pooling of milk. In case the pooling is not to happen on the same day, then we store it and do it the next day. After the pooling, the pasteurization happens. Then the testing for microbial contamination happens. It is stored, dispensed on prescription, and then subsequently fed to eligible recipient babies in the NICU. A quick word about the history of milk banking. So, like we all know, wet nursing is not a new concept in our country, but in today's day and age, it is not safe to recommend wet nursing. So that's why it's important that we have a milk bank to make sure that feeding one mother's milk to some other mother's baby has all the safety steps in place. So the first milk bank in the world was established way back in 1900 in Vienna, Austria. By the time India established its first milk bank at Lokmanya Tilak Municipal Medical College, it was 1989, and the then head of neonatology, Dr. Armida Fernandez, brought this concept to India. Presently, there are more than 100 CLMCs or milk banks in the country. And from 2019 onwards, the government of India has recognized 4 milk banks as zonal reference center for the north, west, east, and south zone. We are the zonal center for the west zone, and we carry out the services of guiding and providing mentorship to new and old CLMCs in the states of Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Goa, and Daman Diu. This is a bird's view of the kind of work which has been done in the milk bank for the last 5 years. we have had almost 7 to 10,000 mothers who have received support every year. So in the last 5 years, more than 50,000 mothers have received breastfeeding support. Of these, 43,400 mothers have donated milk to the milk bank at Sion Hospital. 4,184 liters of milk has been collected and dispensed to over 10,000 sick and preterm infants who have benefited with provision of pasteurized donor human milk when mother's own milk was not available. We also carry out some felicitation programs of mothers who donate a lot of milk during their hospital stay. So this is a mom who stayed with us for almost 3 months because she had a tiny preemie admitted to the NICU. And over the 3 months, she donated almost 5 liters of breast milk. We provide them with a certificate of appreciation and a small trophy. There's also a lot of research which has come out from the milk bank over the last few years, whereby we have tried to understand the landscape of human milk banks in the country and understanding what are the perceptions of people, or what is the perception in the community about milk banks, and how can we improve systems to provide better services and improve newborn survival through milk banking. We've also done some quality improvement research. We've done some research with feeding preterm and vulnerable babies with human milk where there wasn't enough clear evidence available. And we've recently come out with a trial, a result or a pilot trial where we've compared 2 pumping strategies to improve milk output and breastfeeding rates of mothers with low milk output. In addition to the research, there are several training activities which are conducted as a zonal center where nurses, residents, social workers, teams from other milk banks come to our hospital and train for breastfeeding and milk banking. We've also conducted a lot of workshops in collaboration with the BBNI Maharashtra team. And finally, the entire idea is to close the gap and involve all the stakeholders and provide breastfeeding support for all. But we need to understand that human milk or pasteurized donor human milk is a bridge. It's not a substitute for mother's milk. It's only a bridge in this process where we are trying to promote, protect, and support breastfeeding and try and achieve our goals of exclusive breastfeeding. Till such time that the mom is unable to do so, we try to bridge that gap by providing pasteurized donor human milk. But the ultimate goal is to build capacity of every mother so that she can achieve her breastfeeding goals at the time of discharge. So thank you very much. That's it from my side.
Thank you, ma'am, for this beautiful presentation. I would invite Dr. Neeraj for his expert comments before we go to the next speaker.
Swati madam, it was a very fantastic presentation because many of us are not knowing about the how does human milk bank work, because it is a it requires a specialized setup and it is not available in so many areas. Maybe in metro area it is more, as you said, it is around more than 100 in pan India. So many of us are not knowing about it, and so it's very eye opening. And I hope many more human milk bank will be opening in the next few years. So required baby can take advantage of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So let's
I
move
think
to
there are some questions, but we are running late of time. So madam can answer that question in the chat box. What do you?
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that.
So the next segment have got 2 speakers. So first of all, Neeraj, you can introduce Dr. Harshada ma'am, who will be talking on the maternal infections.
So it's privilege to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Harshada Uchil. She is a MD/DNB in pediatrics, IBCLC in 2018, assistant professor in the Department of Pediatrics at MGM Medical College, Navi Mumbai, and member of the BPNI Maharashtra. So welcome, and over to you, Dr. Harshada. And our next speaker is Dr. Esma Jain, who is a MBBS MD/DNB in pediatric, international board certified lactational consultant, clinic at the Gandhiwali, Mumbai, Anand Mother and Child Hospital, Balad, Mumbai. Maharashtra. So welcome, Dr. Resma Madam. Over to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the introduction. Thank you to the esteemed faculty present here, and a good evening to all the delegates. Thank you for the opportunity for presenting this lecture. So our topic is maternal infections and breastfeeding. We have divided this into 2 sessions. I would be covering tuberculosis and a few specific viral infections. Dr. Reshma would then go on to cover COVID-19, HIV, and hepatitis. When we speak about maternal infections, particularly in a lactating mother, there are a lot of questions which come to our mind. Firstly, what are the infections in which breastfeeding can be safely continued for the baby? Are there any infections in which breastfeeding could be contraindicated? Which are the infections which have shown a strong risk of transmission to the baby? And when a mother is started on antimicrobial therapy for these infections, are these drugs safe in the lactating mother for the baby? And lastly, how can we support breastfeeding and encourage breastfeeding in case of these maternal infections? With this session, we'll try to answer these questions. So a few general considerations before we go on to the specific infections. The basic rule of thumb or the basic tenet to remember is that breastfeeding is rarely contraindicated in maternal infection. There are a few specific infections in which under a few specific conditions for a limited period of time, breastfeeding may have to be limited. We'll go through that in the further slides. The exceptions as shown here are specific infectious agents with a strong evidence of transmission through the breast milk. But this transmission is not sufficient unless it causes significant morbidity and mortality in the infant. Only in these cases, if the risk of the neonatal or the infant disease is very high, only then we would consider isolation of the mother from the baby and temporary interruption of the breastfeeding. Breast milk is not a very important or a major risk of infection to the baby, but direct close contact with the mother, contact with body fluids of the mother, droplet spread, airborne spread, these are the primary mechanisms by which the baby could contract the infection, and hence contact precautions while the mother is breastfeeding the baby are very, very important. Most of the antimicrobials, the first-line drugs, including anti-tubercular therapy with the first-line agents, are safe in breastfeeding, and the mother can safely continue to breastfeed. What happens is there is a lot of uncertainty with a lot of these new infections coming up, including Ebola, Zika, Mpox recently. So a lack of knowledge can deprive the infants of the benefits of breastfeeding. And at a particularly vulnerable time, because they are deprived of the passive antibodies that they could receive from the mother, which could possibly protect them from a severe infection. Hence, a proper knowledge about the infections is needed, and so that we can guide the mother accordingly of what is to be done regarding breastfeeding. All of the guidelines tell us to measure the potential benefits of breastfeeding against the estimated risk of acquiring a significant infection, which causing a significant mortality and morbidity in the baby. The aim in all the infections is to facilitate continuation of breastfeeding while we take measures to safeguard against the infection transmission through the other routes, that is the airborne spread, droplet spread, contact spread, and such ways. So in all infections, the mother should be counseled about standard precautions that she should take care about. Use of mask for the mother during close contact with the baby, meticulous hand hygiene, and she should avoid touching mucous membranes, or if there's a mother who's suffering from skin lesions, care should be taken that the skin lesions are covered properly and the mother avoids touching those lesions while she's handling the baby. In certain infectious diseases, during the initial infectious period, breastfeeding may have to be withheld. This is mainly to prevent the airborne transfer between the mother and the baby. And in these cases, it may be safe for the infants to receive express breast milk from the baby if an alternate caregiver is available who can feed the baby with the express breast milk. There are certain conditions which could involve the breast tissue per se, like a varicella zoster infection, herpes zoster, or a mycobacterium tuberculosis, which could cause a mastitis in the mother. This could hypothetically contaminate the breast milk. Hence, the major health organizations advise against the use of breast milk in these cases till the lesions heal completely. Coming on to the first infection, that is tuberculosis. Congenital TB is rare, but airborne transfer is the major mechanism of transfer of infection from the mother to the baby. The major health organizations mention that where it is reasonable, separation of the infant from the mother should be avoided. Different organizations, including the Indian Academy of Pediatrics, the DOTS, they have varying recommendations. But the general consensus is that during workup, and if there are features of active TB, which is contagious, if she is sputum smear positive, if the mother is suffering from a multi-drug resistant tuberculosis, and if she is non-compliant to the therapy, then in these cases, isolation of the mother from the infant is recommended where feasible, and the milk can be expressed and safely fed to the baby. However, separation here means relocation to a different house and not different rooms in the same household. TB mastitis, as we discussed, express breast milk from the affected breast could be contaminated with the bacilli, and hence this is contraindicated till the lesions heal. However, milk from the unaffected breast can be given, and INH prophylaxis needs to be given for all infants. But with considering a practical scenario in a resource-limited setting like India, where alternate caregivers may not be available to provide express breast milk to the baby. Supposing we've seen cases where the mother is the main caregiver, the father is a daily wage laborer who's earning. So in these cases, it may not be possible for the baby to have a safe source of nutrition which is provided by the alternate caregiver. So what do we do in these cases? So we recommend the mother to use a mask, to use proper contact precautions, and then continue the baby. Coming to the other viral infections, with cytomegalovirus, there was some discrepancy between the use of breast milk between full-term and preterm infants. It is said that it can be safe, breastfeeding can be safely continued in full-term babies who are healthy. However, with preterms, there was some controversy, and it was said that preterms could acquire the disease, which could be severe in them. However, there are recent studies which recommend that even in preterm babies, breastfeeding can be safely continued. With Epstein-Barr virus, in areas which have a low incidence of EBV-associated tumors like nasopharyngeal carcinoma, breastfeeding can continue safely. Coming to the herpes simplex virus 1 and 2, in these cases, if the breast is not affected, that is, there are no lesions on the breast, the mother can safely continue to breastfeed. However, hygiene precautions have to be taken care of. The mother should follow careful hand hygiene. The lesions should be covered with dry bandages on the rest of the body. She should avoid kissing the baby if there are oral lesions until these lesions are crusted. Now, if there are active breast lesions, breastfeeding is contraindicated until lesions are dried. The CDC recommends against the use of EBM from the affected breast. However, EBM can be given from the unaffected breast. The next infection, that is varicella zoster virus, which could either cause a chicken pox or a reactivation which could cause a herpes zoster. So if the mother develops chicken pox, the maximum risk to the baby is from 5 days before the delivery to 2 days after the delivery. So this is the period when if the infant contracts the chicken pox, it can have the worst mortality and the morbidity. So in these cases, if the mother develops the rash between this period, then it is reasonable to isolate the mother till she is clinically infectious. And that is defined that she is determined to be non-infectious when no new lesions have appeared for 72 hours and all the old lesions have crusted. The neonate should receive the varicella zoster immunoglobulin, and express breast milk can be given, taking care that the milk is not contaminated by the breast lesions, because the vesicles can contain the virus, which could then be transmitted through the breast milk to the baby. And this EBM can only be given after the infant has received the varicella zoster immunoglobulin. Now, secondly, if the mother develops a reactivation of the latent virus and develops a herpes zoster, isolation is not required, and breastfeeding can continue as long as the lesions do not involve the breast. Again, in all infections, as we have emphasized previously, Mother is encouraged to cover the lesions, take care that she doesn't touch the lesions, and proper hand hygiene is maintained. Next, we come to Ebola virus, which is a virus which has gained importance in the recent times. So it is important to understand that if there's an Ebola virus infection, what to do, and to understand that in what cases breastfeeding may have to be contraindicated and what to do in these cases. So Ebola virus is one of the viruses in which studies have shown that this virus is excreted into the breast milk. However, this excretion causing a disease in the baby is not been confirmed. So this transmission is not confirmed. However, if the neonate or the infant acquires this infection, then the severity of the disease is very high. So it meets the criteria of those specific infections that we talked about in the first slide, that the disease could be severe in the neonate or the infant. So we see the recommendations here by the CDC and the WHO. If the infant is asymptomatic, has not developed any symptoms of Ebola, it is recommended that the mother is isolated, and EBM is also not to be given in these cases because the virus could be excreted in the breast milk, and replacement feeding needs to be offered. Replacement feeding could be offered with pasteurized donor human milk, as was discussed in the last lecture, or formula if even pasteurized DHM is not available. Now, if the infant is symptomatic and Ebola is either suspected or confirmed, there are controversial recommendations. The older recommendation is that the mother should be supported to breastfeed if she is well. However, recently there is a new concept which has come up of viral boosting. So here separation is recommended. However, the caveat here is that a feasible source of nutrition for babies, particularly younger than 6 months, should be available. And in any case where this feasible, safe source of nutrition is not available, we recommend to not isolate the mother from the baby and to continue to breastfeed, provided the infant is also asymptomatic and Ebola is suspected in the baby as well. Next, we come to Zika virus and Mpox, which is gaining importance in recent time. In Zika virus, the benefits of breastfeeding outweigh any possible risk of transmission to the baby. Hence, breastfeeding can safely continue. With Mpox, that is monkeypox, recent guidelines have been put up by the CDC and the WHO. Because neonatal monkeypox can be very, very severe, so it is recommended that the mother is isolated from the newborn. Again, this isolation is done because the risk of transmission through the other routes, that is airborne and through the lesions, are more important than the breast milk. If isolation is not possible, we emphasize on strict contact precautions, hand hygiene. The CDC recommends against the use of EBM because enough studies have not been done to understand the secretion of virus into the breast milk and the transmission of infection. The WHO, on the other hand, recommends weighing the pros and cons, again, as we discussed with the last virus, that if a feasible, safe source of nutrition is not available for the infant, then we go ahead and continue offering either EBM or direct breastfeeding for the infant. So the key learning points from this lecture is that breastfeeding can safely continue in most of the infections without interruption. And as I've emphasized in each of the slides, contact precautions are very, very important because this is the route by which the infant could contract the infection. Hand washing, use of mask, avoid to touch the lesions, avoid kissing the baby if there are oral lesions, and such other measures are important. Certain infections, isolation may be required in the initial infectious period. Active tuberculosis, till the mother has received at least 2 weeks of proper anti-tubercular therapy. Measles for the initial 72 hours. Varicella, particularly if the mother develops the rash before 5 days to up to 2 days after the delivery. Monkeypox and Ebola. In most of the other infections, breastfeeding can safely continue. And even in these infections, when an alternate source of nutrition is not available for the baby, we recommend to continue using EBM or direct breastfeeding. If the breast is involved with lesions such as tuberculomastitis, however, it is very, very rare, HSV, varicella zoster, or monkeypox, then even the expressed breast milk is to be withheld till the lesions heal. These are my references from CDC, WHO, etc. Thank you so much for a patient listening. We'll now go on to Dr. Reshma.
Is my slides visible?
Yes, it is visible. Make it full screen just.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So thank you, Neeraj sir, for the introduction, and I thank you ICOG for organizing this, and I especially thank Dr. Karthik sir and Dr. Prashant Gangal sir for giving us opportunity to take this talk. So continuing what Dr. Harshada was talking about, maternal infections and breastfeeding. So here we will be discussing about three infections, that is COVID-19, hepatitis and HIV. So to start with COVID-19, there were studies done when the pandemic came into place about the risks and the benefits for considering breastfeeding. So it was a worry that whether the virus is going to transmit through the breast milk. It was found that the virus passing through the breast milk is hardly anything, it's negligible. However, the antibodies were found in the breast milk of a mother who is infected with COVID-19. And that is why, as we saw the general principles, the risks were lesser and the benefits were more of breastfeeding. And hence, breastfeeding is recommended in COVID-19 with definite specific precautions for preventing transmission through other routes. Another study that was done to compare mothers who were separated from their babies and not given breastfeed compared to the babies who were breastfed with proper respiratory precautions or following respiratory hygiene in the mother, the transmission rates were similar. So it proved that breastfeeding should be continued. So basic principles as we follow in any mother, that we encourage to initiate breastfeeding in the OT and continue breastfeeding. So as we said, benefits are more than the risks. So that is why the risk of transmission is less, and then supporting breastfeeding. Again, three common things: rooming in, kangaroo mother care, and skin to skin contact is encouraged. So all these things are encouraged in COVID-19 along with the precautions that needs to be followed, that is practicing respiratory hygiene. So mask needs to be used by the mother, proper hand washing while handling the baby, routinely disinfecting surfaces in and around the mother and the baby diet. In case the mother is very sick, as we just discussed, express breast milk can be provided to the baby by another caregiver. The caregiver should make sure that the caregiver should not be COVID infected. The caregiver should handle the milk very properly. If the mother is very sick and is not even in a state to provide express breast milk, then human milk bank donor milk can be made available if it is feasible. Or once the mother is fine, relactation should be introduced with the help of the healthcare workers. Next, we go to, so the conclusion of the COVID-19, in cases of COVID-19, breastfeeding should be continued with proper respiratory hygiene. Now talking about HIV, this is a little prolonged discussion. Now here, when HIV was, the mother to child transmission or parent to child transmission, out of the parent to child transmission, 30% was responsible from breastfeeding. Now this was before the ART use. And the 15 to 20% was in the first 2 years of age, where the breastfeeding will be maximum. After use of antiretroviral therapy, ARV prophylaxis in the infant, and with viral suppression, this has gone down to less than 1%. It's 0.3 to 1%. Now, here I've written history and confusing guidelines because the guidelines have been changing since the past. So in 1985, CDC clearly said that the only way to avoid your infant getting HIV infection via breastfeeding is to completely avoid breastfeeding. Now, this was followed, but it was observed that in middle and low income countries, the kids or the babies were getting infected with other infections because of avoidance of breastfeeding. So diarrhea, pneumonia, the infections that are being, the child has been protected against by breastfeeding, were causing more mortality than HIV itself. And hence the guidelines kept on changing. So it was ultimately decided that high income group of people can avoid breastfeeding and provide replacement feeding. In low and middle income countries, to continue breastfeeding with proper ART. Now, again, there is a twist to this, that even in high income countries, people are there who wish to breastfeed. So now the current guidelines, now the latest guidelines is American Academy of Pediatrics, June 2024. For India, still NACO 2021 guidelines, which are from WHO 2016 guidelines, are the recent ones, but now probably we will have one more addition to it. So the current approach in most of the countries, all across the world, it is the family-centered, non-judgmental, evidence-based harm reduction approach. So here we are supposed to discuss infant feeding options with the mother, with the parents who are going to feed the baby, discuss the risk and the benefits of breastfeeding, and then take a joint decision along with them so that we can support them in the decision that they take. Either it is exclusive breastfeeding or it is exclusive replacement feeding. So in a situation where the HIV status is not known, so this flowchart is being recommended. So undocumented HIV infection, then rapid test is done. If it is negative, then breastfeeding is initiated. Like if a mother comes in the delivery room. If it is positive and HIV is ruled out by confirmatory test, then continue breastfeeding. And infant prophylaxis is started if the report is positive within 6 hours of birth. If the mother desires to breastfeed, but the report of rapid test is positive and the confirmatory test is yet to arrive, EBM can be kept and stored and skin-to-skin contact allowed. But till then, AAP recommends that the mother should not breastfeed till the final report is arrived. Again, here, this is a situation where the report is not done. The mother comes in the room of a delivery room without the HIV report, and the HIV report has to be done. So again, infant feeding options are to be discussed even here. For Indian scenario in such situations, even in such cases, breastfeeding is allowed. And once the report is positive, immediate ART and infant prophylaxis are initiated. So what are the main crux? So American Academy of Pediatrics latest guideline says that avoidance of breastfeeding is the only infant method to avoid postnatal HIV transmission. But as we discussed, we should explore and address the barriers to replacement feeding. Again, it was observed that because of non-availability of safe and sufficient sustainable replacement feeding, there are other infections that the baby was suffering from. So all the infant feeding options should be discussed. So we should counsel them, ask the reasons why they want to breastfeed or why they don't want to breastfeed, and the risks involved. Especially in countries in US, it is if a parent wants to breastfeed and the parent is HIV positive, the child protective services used to take action against them because it is as if you are going to harm the child. So all these things were a barrier for mothers or parents who wish to breastfeed you even in a setup of HIV. So now all those things are changed. So it is our duty to provide them with the breastfeeding support. So what we are supposed to ensure that proper ART is being given to the mother, sustained viral suppression. Mother should be consistent with her own ART and also infant ARV prophylaxis. Continuous ART access, that is very important. So multidisciplinary team is important. 4th trimester care, that is what is being called. So following strategies are followed to reduce HIV transmission via breastfeeding. So exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months, no mixed feeding. So here it is recommended that there should be no mixing of feeding. Mixing of feeding means breastfeeding, sometimes formula, sometimes breast milk, sometimes formula. Now, what does happen is when a baby is exposed to milk other than mother's milk, the gut lining gets inflamed. And the gut lining, once inflamed, can increase the risk of HIV transmission if the baby is again breastfed. And hence, mixed feeding is not recommended. Continuous ART, that is undetectable viral load. So that monitoring should be done. Regular assessment of viral load. Infant ARV prophylaxis. So it should be immediately started. It is continued for 6 weeks and it depends on the method of feeding and also on the type of HIV, the duration and the drugs that are used. So either nevirapine, zidovudine or a combination of two are used. Gradual weaning over 2 to 6 weeks, that is over a period of 1 month rather than abruptly. So it was noted that abrupt stopping of breast milk was leading to engorgement, sometimes mastitis, and that was increasing the chances of child getting HIV infection. And hence it is recommended that the weaning should be very gradual over a period of 1 month. Breastfeed babies, HIV testing should be done periodically, monitoring of the side effects of the ARV prophylaxis, which are very, very rare. Only when it is being given prolonged, that is when the side effects are really need to be monitored. Now, American Academy of Pediatrics does not allow breastfeeding strictly when the mother is not on ART, viral suppression is not achieved. In case of acute or recently diagnosed HIV, it may be in the 3rd trimester or just at the delivery, or high risk for HIV till the results are out. Now, NACO guidelines are that exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life is recommended. Beyond 6 months, breastfeeding should continue while complementary feeds are introduced. So the guidelines are same as any other baby. Breastfeeding should stop only once a nutritionally adequate and safe diet without breast milk can be provided to the child. Mothers can continue breastfeed up to 12 months or 24 months or beyond like general population while being fully supported. So current guidelines are ART for all the patients irrespective of the CD4 count. If she wants to join work early and wants to feed till the baby is 1 year, it is recommended that she can continue breastfeeding till a year. It is always said that it is better to feed the baby for 12 months than never initiating breastfeeding at all. Breastfeeding is made safe by giving ART to mother and ARV prophylaxis to the baby. Now, with optimal adherence and suppressed viral load, it is found that there is no difference in infant feeding guidelines for HIV exposed person and unexposed infant. So these are very important guidelines from Indian point of view. Now, this is AFPA's criteria. This was made only when any person who is opting for exclusive replacement feeding, this criteria should be fulfilled. So what is this? It should be acceptable, feasible, affordable, sustainable, and safe. So the replacement food, that a replacement milk, that is the formula that the parents are going to provide, should be acceptable to the parents, to the whole family, feasible, affordable. The financial status also needs to be taken care of, sustainable, and safely made and given to the baby. There are 2 points that I would additionally like to discuss here, which has contradicting guidelines regarding AAP guidelines 2024 and NACO guidelines or WHO 2016 guidelines about mixed feeding. Now, mixed feeding was not recommended even with the NACO guidelines. It says, as I said, it's causing inflammation and it is going to increase the risk of HIV transmission. However, in situations like mastitis or a situation where the baby is in NICU or any other situation where the exclusive breastfeeding was not able to be, mother was not able to maintain, if mixed feeding or formula is being given in a setup of continuous ART and ARV prophylaxis, it is said that with the help of ART, there is the transmission rates are still lower and mixed feeding will not cause a major trouble to the child if the mother is on ART, viral suppressed, and the baby is on ARV prophylaxis. Another thing, in 2016, heat treatment of EBM was recommended by WHO in situations where mother cannot directly breastfeed, again in mastitis or babies in NICU, or there are twins, flash heat treatment method so that to destroy the HIV virus and help the baby to get EBM. Again, AAP 2024 guidelines say that because of this method, there are 2 types of HIV viruses. It's cell-free and cell-associated. So cell-free virus can get destroyed by this method, not the cell-associated. Also, it may destroy some parts of immunoglobulins into the present into the breast milk, and hence, plus this is a tedious method and it may not be helpful. So AAP 2024 guidelines does not recommend heat treatment of EBM. So in conclusion, that in India, we or anywhere else, the overall guidelines currently say that we have to have a family-centered discussion about infant feeding options regarding HIV. Whatever the parent choose, we are supposed to make sure that we support them in their decision in all the aspects. Hepatitis. Hepatitis is a viral infection. So here we discuss in a tabulated form about hepatitis A. It is transmitted by a fecal-oral route. So hand washing and hygiene practices are must and breastfeeding can be continued. The viral RNA and the antibodies both are detected in the breast milk. Hepatitis A immunoglobulin is recommended, but which is not available here in our country. Hepatitis A vaccine can be given if a child is more than 1 year. Hepatitis B, again, we can continue breastfeeding, but the most important thing is post-exposure prophylaxis to the neonate, that is hepatitis B immunoglobulin and hepatitis B vaccine should be given as soon as possible within 6 hours of the birth. Now, some guidelines recommend that the breast milk should be withheld till the baby is getting the prophylaxis. But some guidelines say that irrespective of that, baby can continue to breastfeed. Some guidelines are saying that mastitis and nipple cracks with minor bleeds, like AAP and CDC say that breastfeeding should be interrupted because it is a virus which can be transmitted via blood if there is bleeding. But our aim is to avoid all these complications in a mother so that the breastfeeding will not be interrupted. Hepatitis C, again, there are studies that show that breastfeeding is safe in hepatitis C. Again, mastitis and nipple cracks with minor bleeds, breastfeeding interruption is recommended. In hepatitis E, there are guidelines which are saying that if the mother is asymptomatic, she can breastfeed. There are studies which found that despite if the mother is symptomatic and without breastfeeding also can transmit hepatitis E to the baby via close contact. And in such cases, breastfeeding is avoided. Hand washing hygiene practices are must because again, this is a transmission through fecal-oral route. These are my references. And thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for this elaborate discussion. I think Dr. Neeraj has something to say. And Dr. Neeraj?
Neeraj is not there.
So, sir, you can...
No, I think it has been very, very comprehensive, very nice. I'm very happy with both the girls. Very good. Very good and,
yes,
and very precise. Very precise information. I don't think we'll get this kind of information anywhere else. And you'll have to put in a lot of efforts to get this. Very well done.
Thank you.
Actually, sir, I agree with you because this was such a vast topic and finishing it within time with so much of information. Thank you, speakers, for justifying this and making our time also valuable.
The young blood works.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. So we proceed to the next session, the panel discussion, as we have Dr. Charulata Bapai with us to conduct this because there are so many working mothers nowadays and we need to consider them when we talk about the breastfeeding issues. So we have something to learn about it with Dr. Charu. Can we have her CV, please? Do we all know that Charu is heading the study of female breast health committee and we are all working under her and she's so director of GEMS Hospital and Endoscopy Center. She's also chairperson right now to the breast committee, member of breast health committee FIGO, making us proud, and honorable consultant, Dinanath Mangeshkar Hospital. I think she has so much in her kitty and I'll keep on talking about her. Doesn't a very dear friend and a guide to most of us. So over to you, Charu, to discuss such an important difficulties in breastfeeding for a modern woman, which is need of the hour. Over to you, Dr. Charu, for the panel discussion. And I would like to invite our panelists, Dr. Radhika, Dr. Anita Rajoria ma'am, Dr. Manjula ma'am. They are all here and we are waiting for...
I'd like to ask Dr. Karu and Dr. Divya also to join.
Okay.
If possible.
Yeah, Dr. Karu and Dr. Divya are already with us. Please join us for the discussion.
Wonderful. So after that exhaustive discussion on breastfeeding by all our stalwarts, I think it is time to kind of summarize. And so this panel discussion is a small interaction wherein we are going to sort of, talk about a few case-based situations which the obstetrician is going to face very routinely in her practice. And can I be allowed to share my screen, please? So as I was saying that we would like to have a little discussion on the routine problems which an obstetrician faces in her private practice, and that is exactly why we have this panel discussion and tips and tricks to successful breastfeeding, especially for the modern woman. I'm very happy to have with me as panelists Dr. Divya, Singhal, whom you have met since day one, Dr. Manjula Appadurai, who's my South Zone coordinator, Divya is my national coordinator of the breast study on female breast committee, Radhika Raturi, another very enthusiastic member of the committee from Dehradun, and Dr. Anita Rajoria, an extremely learned person from Delhi and also a very avid worker in the breast committee. Dr. Taru Chhaya, she is the pillar of our breast committee once again, and she is from Jaipur. So welcome esteemed panelists for this small panel discussion. So breastfeeding is a mother's gift to herself, her baby, and Mother Earth. Breastfeeding, often referred to as liquid gold, is nature's remarkable gift to newborns. We all have heard so much over the last 2 days that it goes beyond mere nourishment, fosters a profound bond between the mother and child, and lays the foundation for a lifetime of health and well-being for the baby. We know it is the single most cost-effective intervention for reducing morbidity and mortality in children. However, just like any new sport, it is not an easy task at all, and there could be several difficulties that the new mother has to face. So, esteemed panelists, can we just get a small opinion poll as to what is the incidence of breastfeeding in your practice? We can start with Dr. Divya. Is she here?
Good evening. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Charulata Babai, for this question, which is so relevant to our practice. Actually, frankly speaking, before I joined the breast committee, I was not aware of, that we have to actually teach our patients during the antenatal care for breastfeeding and to kind of initiate breastfeeding in the golden hour, so many things. And now once I've started doing it, to my surprise, to my pleasant surprise, I see every patient, every mother is kind of coming back with very good news that they are breastfeeding so beautifully. And in fact, sometimes what happens, the neonatologist or the pediatrician takes away the baby in the first hour without a skin-to-skin contact. And then the mother says, doctor, what happened to my golden hour? I'm missing on the golden hour. So the practice has definitely improved.
All right, Dr. Manjula, I think you practice a little in the semi-rural area, if I'm not mistaken. What is your experience?
Just like what Divya has shared her views, it's almost the similar, but we've concentrated more on breastfeeding, and the experience is quite pleasant. Can see
So I
most
think we
of
can
them,
have a
they are
take-home
feeding the baby.
message that if all the obstetricians do a course in breastfeeding and lactation, then automatically their patients are going to benefit immensely, and we are going to have a significant increase in the rates of breastfeeding, right?
Definitely.
So we will all be taking a pledge and an oath today that all those attendees are going to do the same as far as their patients are concerned. So Dr. Radhika, what do you think are the barriers to breastfeeding? Radhika, is she here? Anita could take up this question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Charu, for that question. So barriers to breastfeeding can be many. The barriers may be in the mother itself. It may be the social barrier. It may be her personal belief. She may not feel confident in breastfeeding, or maybe her support system is so weak that she's not able to feed the baby properly. And another barrier is that she's not physically able enough to adequately breastfeed the child at that particular moment. Then barriers may be problems in baby also, like very premature babies, or the babies who are separated due to need of ventilator and all that. Sometimes these may also pose barrier. And another important barrier is the obstetrician or the attending doctors themselves. They are not able to adequately motivate the mother to feed, to generate the confidence in mother to feed.
That is a very, very good sentence, that sometimes it is the doctors themselves, who could be hurdles. The family members, the lack of confidence in the mother. I think that is one of the most important things, as you rightly said, that, she herself feels unsure about everything. So lack of a good support system, I think, belief that breast milk is not sufficient. In our country, we have so many people opining about, pregnancy and breastfeeding, that the minute the mother or the mother-in-law says that, अरे तेरा आपका बच्चा तो इतना रो रहा है, तो शायद आपका दूध ही कम पड़ रहा है. तो immediately she goes on a back foot, and she feels, oh my God, I'm not doing a great job and something is wrong with me. So yes, these are the usually mentioned barriers to breastfeeding. I think Dr. Radhika Raturi is trying to join, but for some reason she is unable to join. If
when my patient used to tell me that she has very less milk, I usually quite ask her, "Oh, who told you? The baby told you?"
That is very
So
interesting.
that way we just promote them to breastfeed the baby more and more. We follow
Absolutely.
all the techniques and
So Dr. Taru, we can come to you for this particular case. Pooja is a 35-year-old P1L1. She comes to you 7 days after her delivery for her routine follow-up. And she looks very anxious. She says that she thinks she's producing very less milk because her baby is crying a lot and always seems to be hungry. She's had a full-term delivery, and there's nothing wrong with her or the baby apparently. So how are we going to counsel this particular mother? Is Dr. Taru here? Okay, Dr. Divya, you can take the question.
So normally, actually, this is just a misconception, a misperception rather, that the mother has that she's not producing adequate milk. So we need to reassure her, at the same time, ask her a few questions, leading questions like as to how many times is she feeding the baby, or
Right.
how many times is the baby breastfeeding. So if it is a frequency of 8 to 12 times, 8 to 10 times in 24 hours, that is absolutely adequate. If the baby is satisfied, calm after a feed, that is also a very good sign. And if the baby is passing 1 to 2 stools per day and also wetting the diapers 5 to 6 times in 24 hours, it shows that the baby is getting adequate milk. So most of the time it is just a reassurance that the patient needs.
Absolutely
And the baby is
rightly
gaining
said.
weight properly, which
Very
means
right.
in grams per kg body weight per day.
Yes, so that is very important that we have to first assess whether really, what is the current situation. So as Dr. Gangal has, so rightly told us, given the example of the monkey and her baby, where the baby is constantly clinging to the mother and suckling as and when. So, these demand feeds is what we have to stress upon. We know that the baby is the best galactagogue. The more the baby suckles, more the milk which is going to be produced. And so if the mother is going to keep away from the TV, from the mobile, from doing unnecessary chores, then definitely she can concentrate completely on her baby, and she will be able to feed her baby well. And so most of the times it is just reassurance that yes, you just make sure that all is well, increase her confidence, boost up her confidence. But sometimes there can be some situations where maybe the baby is not doing so well. Anita, what would be the signs that we would look for, to find whether the baby is not being fed adequately? What would be the signs?
So the baby will keep on crying, and the baby will seem lethargic, will sleep for a longer time, urine will be less. Like the mother will say that the baby has not passed urine for a long time today. So these may be, and then when the neonate advances in age, there may be poor weight gain. That is a very, very important, subjective
Yes.
way to know that breast milk is not adequate. But most of the times it is that mother can produce enough milk even for twins or triplets as such. It's not that, it's just the demand and supply. So if she will continue to breastfeed, the milk will definitely come.
Absolutely. And we all know that the size of the baby's stomach is like a marble. when it is born, which is such a tiny, space. So whatever few drops of milk are coming, if the baby keeps suckling often, then surely it is going to be enough. We heard a lot about hypoglycemia in the newborn also, wherein, Dr. Gangal gave us a very good talk about how the stores from the liver are going to be mobilized, and, the baby is going to be looked after properly. And so we have to look for these signs of adequate milk production. Okay. So perceived less milk production is incorrect information among the doctors, the paramedics, the relatives, and or the mother herself. Maternal stress or fatigue affecting the milk letdown. Delayed initiation of breastfeeding. I think, again, this is all about the golden hour that we keep mentioning, that if we as obstetricians latch the baby to the mother's breast in the first golden hour itself, and ensure that there is no formula milk dabba in her room, and that she has to constantly have the baby latched to her, it is surely going to help a lot. Of course, we have to teach the mother about what is a good latch. Now, it has been esteemed obstetricians, in your experience, do you find these problems, that thyroid issues, diabetes, PCO, do they really cause insufficient milk production?
Not as
Right. So even I really haven't found, but diabetes, maybe we sometimes see a little delayed initiation in the diabetic, in severely diabetic mothers who are on insulin, but very often we do not really come across these kinds of problems. So let us put this behind us, and not assume that these disorders are going to cause less milk production. So does any of our esteemed panelists believe in increasing the milk supply by using galactogogues? Manjula?
Yes. Yes, we can use domperidone tablets, and we can ask. First thing is we have to comfort the mother, relax the mother, pat her back, and uh, tell her that she can breastfeed, and she will definitely breastfeed her baby. Give her assurance. Reassurance is the most important thing, and then you proceed with the galactogogues like domperidone tablet. And
Something before domperidone, can we give her something before domperidone? Divya, Nita.
so there are yeah, many home remedies also, as
remedies,
our
like fenugreek seed. I
grandmothers
think
used to tell.
in India, we should definitely think of
cumin seeds, all these
yes,
things.
because it's going on since ages, right? In our country, every community
Salt,
we have
yeah.
this thing. But a balanced diet, I think a balanced diet is something that we need to stress on, because in many communities, they have a number of restrictions. Ki the new mother should not be given this. उसको सिर्फ दाल चावल ही देना है, वो भी सिर्फ मूंग की दाल देनी है, और she cannot eat sabjis, she cannot eat egg, she cannot eat all these
Yes,
things.
Dr. Charu, and what about water in North India?
Oh,
They
yes.
tell them not to have
Yes,
water.
yes.
So we must make it very, very prominent to the support
Absolutely.
system, to the family, as well as to the mother, that she should at least drink a glass of water before she starts to breastfeed. So every
Perfect.
time she
Perfect.
breastfeeds, she has a glass of water, which would mean about at least 12 glasses she would have had.
Wonderful. I think that is so
And
necessary.
assess her for any barriers, Charu. So
Sorry?
if there are any barriers like social barriers, she doesn't have the support system, all that, we have to look into the matter.
Oh, yes.
Means what
Oh,
is happening with the mother, and we try to remove the barriers as much as possible.
And one more thing in our country, I think, the minute a baby is born, the dada dadi, the nana nani, the bua, the fufa, the chacha, everybody wants to come and see the baby. Of course, they're all very happy about it. But can you imagine that the new mother has just started feeding the baby, and suddenly somebody senior enters into that room, and she, has to pull the baby away from the breast and cover herself, because somebody senior has come and she has to go and touch the feet of that senior person. So I think, breastfeeding in progress, do not disturb. I think somebody showed that sign in one of the talks, and we should really be putting up these boards outside, even in our wards, or maybe if it's a private room, and even at home, we should ensure that the mother, her baby, and maybe the father also, if he's a supportive father, it should be a unit who are, looking after the baby's needs and the mother's needs. So,
Yes, Dr. Charu, so important. I'm sorry, I'm going on interrupting you,
no, please,
but
please.
but definitely, like you said, a do not disturb sign, as well as privacy to the mother, is so very important, and she needs a calm and quiet room so that she's anxiety free and she's absolutely with her baby and nothing else. There's nothing which comes in between she and the baby, and then there will be an automatic reflex and automatic letdown of the milk. Yesterday we saw such a lovely image which is set in my mind, that there's a mother dog who is feeding her about 7-8 puppies at one go. So it's not as if, nature hasn't made enough milk for the baby. So galactogogues and all are just, I think, psychological support. It's like a placebo. And basically it is mainly her mindset which needs to be absolutely towards breastfeeding, and which we need to do as obstetricians.
Very well said. So there is insufficient evidence to suggest the benefit of galactogogues, but yes, we just give it sometimes as a placebo. No harm in that, but it is domperidone, which is the only drug tested, just in case we need to give any kind of drugs. So that was a little bit about the perceived low milk supply, and we move on to our next case. So Dr. Anita, you have this 36-year-old senior manager in a corporate sector. She comes to you 45 days postpartum. She's going to join office soon, and she wants to know the best formula brand, because she says then I'll be out of the house for at least 8 hours, and then I will not be able to feed my baby. So my baby will be looked after by my in-laws or some person at home, and so I need to use a formula brand. So what will you tell?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Charu. This is a day-to-day challenge we are facing now because of a lot of working mothers we cater to now. Actually, now the thing is that extended maternity leaves are being granted, lactation breaks are being offered.
Yes.
Some offices do have baby care units where the babies can be, kept and mother can regularly feed, or she can avail her lactation breaks. She can go, she can breastfeed. And another thing is we have been stressing upon today is, you can collect the breast milk, keep it, you can keep it outside for 3 hours and maybe in the fridge.
Yes.
You can keep in the early morning when she is going off for her duty, she can once freed and then express some breast milk so that some other caretaker can give the feeds to her. So there are so many other things by which government and offices also can help. She can have lactation corners, lactation rooms, all these things. They are very pro breastfeeding.
Yes. So I think all of us have seen,
practices.
whether you go to a mall nowadays, or you go on the railway station, or, even on airports, you tend to see these breastfeeding rooms. And it is very reassuring that, yes, the government is thinking positively for breastfeeding mothers. And so,
And one more thing is there, Charu. Now you are allowed to avail childcare leave also. The mother can add on her earned leaves or childcare leaves along with maternity leaves. If she wants to continue the breastfeeding thoroughly, then she can avail this. Women must know their rights.
Absolutely.
Of the leaves she can avail. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Manjula, would you like to stress upon the rule of 3?
Yes. When the mother is not able to feed the baby, well, just like in all these conditions, the breast milk can be expressed and it can be stored in the room temperature for 3 hours, and it can be fed to the baby.
That's right.
And if it is stored in the fridge, it can be used for 3 days. It is if kept in the fridge, it should be used within 4 hours duration. The breast milk, when stored in the freezer, it can be used for 3 months. And after thawing, it has to be used immediately. And we should never refreeze it or rewarm it.
Well said.
We have to
Absolutely
just
well said.
discard it.
Yes.
When
So
not
once the milk has been taken out, then, if it is not fed completely to the baby, then it has to be discarded. And even in the fridge, we have to store it in the back portion of the fridge, not in the door of the fridge, where the temperature can be little variable in the door of the fridge. So this is very important for us all to remember, especially for our working mothers. This is how we are going to guide them. Now, the point is that she has to express this milk. Divya, what methods would you want her to use to express the breast milk?
Yeah, so thank you for the question. And actually, manual expression is the best way to express, though there are electric pumps and there are manual pumps also available. But manual hand expression is the best way to express milk, and even the WHO endorses this method. And initially, actually, one more thing about working women, I would like to add that we as obstetricians should find out from our mothers when they come for antenatal classes, antenatal care, whether they are working or they're going to be working soon. So 1 month prior to before they go to work, she can start pumping her milk, or she can actually start expressing her milk, keep them in glass containers like these, like test tubes or containers, and label them the date and the time when she's taken out the milk, and put them in the freezer. So all the support system at home has to do is take out one at a time, and the earlier one the first, and accordingly in chronological order, and give it to the baby after thawing it. So as far as manual expression of the milk is concerned, that is not a very difficult task, and it's like the hand has to be, of course, washed first, and then the breast has to be massaged properly, so that she can start the milk can start expressing. So then she puts her index finger and the thumb in a C-shaped manner over the areola, and she presses on the areola in such a way so that the pressure goes backwards and towards the nipple, backwards and towards nipple, so that both the expression as well as expression takes place through the areolar ducts, which are present.
Well said.
And it's not the nipple that needs to be squeezed at all. Otherwise, it's going to get sore and nothing's going to come out. And this should be done, this milk expression should be done every 2 hourly if possible, because otherwise, if the breast get engorged once, then due to the inhibitory reflex, then the milk is stopped, is not going to come out anymore. There will be no production of milk. So therefore, it needs to be expressed every 2 to 3 hours, every 2 to 3 hours.
Wonderful. I think that was a fantastic monologue on your part, Divya. And I think that I'm sure our delegates are going to definitely benefit from this, because this is very important that, we understand this process. And we also need to realize that breast pumps are not as bad as what I personally think. Nowadays, you have those, wear-on breast pumps also, which, which are kind of mobile breast pumps, and which can be just connected to the breast, and they can keep doing.
Charu, there is some confusion in the audience that for how long we can keep the breast milk in freezer. So let us be clear that when you express your milk at home, the mothers who are not doing any processing, they can keep it in freezer for 3 months, while pasteurized milk can be kept for 6 months. So there should be no distinct doubt about it.
Milk bank is different and the home milk is different. Here we are talking about a working mother who is expressing her milk at home, and it is not being pasteurized. Nothing is being done. It is just she who is giving it to her own baby. So that we let us not confuse between milk banks and home milk storage. Right. So yes, if the breast pump is going to be used, it has to be sterilized. That is very important after each use. Yeah, I think we talked about these points. And this is very important that, the lactation rooms, flexible times, and I think even the work from home option, as much as the working mother can avail it, she should definitely avail it, so that she can be with her baby at home, and then the breastfeeding will not be such a big problem at all. And if the entire family decides to support the process of breastfeeding, then yes, this expressed milk is going to be the best thing for that particular baby. So what is the current scenario is that only half of the countries around the world comply with these standards of at least 14 weeks of leave. And a study in Iran documented that infant formula use among working mothers with infants between 6 to 12 months was significantly lower among those who with an access to a lactation space than amongst those without it. So I think all this is just pointing out to that how the workplaces have to really improve and be more mother friendly and baby friendly, just like along with the hospitals, the workplaces also have to be doing this. Yeah. So now I think that this is a very, very common condition that most of us see in our clinics. And so we want to discuss about the lump in the breast. This is a 32-year-old underwent a C-section for fetal distress 10 days back. The baby is doing fine, but now she's complaining of severe throbbing pain and a lump in the left breast. On examination, there was a tense, tender, hot, fluctuant lump in the left breast in the upper outer quadrant. A cracked nipple was visible, and the right breast is also engorged. So Manjula, we are diagnosing it as a left breast abscess. So she's come to your clinic. You can see that it's an abscess, and you have to now speak with her, and you might have to do a few investigations. You might have to treat her. So how will you proceed in this particular case?
So first thing is I'll comfort her, I'll reassure her, and then I'll tell her that she can breastfeed from both the sides. That's the first thing I'll tell her. And then even after the abscess has been cured, she can continue to breastfeed from that same side also.
Very rightly said.
So I'll give her medicines for her fever and chills, all those things. And I'll do a multiple needle aspirations under ultrasound guidance if possible. Because almost all logicians we have a ultrasound machine. So under ultrasound guidance, we can do repeated needle aspirations. Nowadays, we are not doing INDs, incision and drainage. We are not at all doing it. Can do multiple puncture sites, remove all the, drain all those abscess fluids and send for culture sensitivity.
Yes, I think point well taken that we will be having to give her some analgesics. We have to give her antibiotics. What would be your antibiotic of choice for this particular patient, Manjula?
Erythromycin.
Yes, I think erythromycin has been suggested in a proper manner. We have to give her erythromycin because that is safe for the mother as well as for the baby, who's being breastfed. Painkillers definitely will be necessary. And yes, maybe an ultrasound may be required to find out the exact shape and size of the breast, whether it is multiloculated, whether it is uniloculated. And of course, we do not do a mammography in these conditions. But just because we are a part of the breast health committee, we always must remember that something that looks like a breast abscess, but which is not responding to your, or which looks like mastitis and which is not responding to your antibiotics or to your painkillers, we have to remember that there is something called as an inflammatory breast carcinoma. It is a rare, but it is a definite differential diagnosis. And if there are some painful situation in the breast is not responding to routine medications, please refer her to a surgeon or do a mammography in these particular cases.
Dr. Charu, I'd like to add a few words about antibiotics. Like besides erythromycin, one can also give cephalosporins. Even the first generation cephalosporins work well as finally vancomycin, clindamycin. Amoxiclav should be avoided. That is the main, I think, point which one must understand because it can cause necrotizing enterocolitis in the baby, and it also is usually resistant, staph resistant. So, so it is best.
Well taken. And we can give cephalosporins as well as erythromycin, and amoxiclav needs to be avoided. Perfect. So I think, Dr. Anita, for the benefit of our delegates, can we just describe the process of aspiration of a breast abscess?
So thank you, Charu. The breast abscess, initially they used to drain it by incision and drainage. I know it will call for admission of the mother, which will separate her from her baby. She will not be able to breastfeed because of pain. But now, repeated needle synthesis has been advised. Use a wide bore needle, maybe 14 or 16 gauge. And you can, if you have ultrasound, you can use ultrasound guidance, because you should be sure that you have drained all the loculi which have collected pus in it. And whenever you aspirate, please do send the pus for culture and sensitivity. You might have started antibiotics by now, but you can, either or increase the dose, or maybe you can add on something as per your culture and sensitivity report. And you might need to do it maybe 2 or 3 times. It doesn't make any difference, because the mother is, encouraged to continue breastfeeding. for the benefit of our audience, I will, like to add that sometimes baby may feel that the taste is different, but mother has to continue breastfeeding because that particular, duct is blocked. It will not cause any harm to the baby. So that is a myth which has to be, removed from the mother's mind, that she can continue to breastfeed. This is very, very important. Otherwise, as you already said, her right breast also got engorged because she might be having fear in her mind. So she should continue to breastfeed from both the breast, as Manjula has highlighted.
Picture perfect. Picture perfect. I think that is an important take-home message, that in spite of the presence of an abscess, we do not need to stop the breastfeeding. So I think main thing is that we have to prevent it from occurring, is it not? Divya, what are the main causes? Why does a breast abscess or why does mastitis occur in the first place? Which are the common
Because of,
organisms?
yeah,
Why
the
does
one
it
thing
occur?
I think we should hurry. I would like to hurry up with this because Dr. Archana is already looking at us.
We
And
have 15 minutes more, Divya.
okay, we have time.
I
All
mean,
right.
that's what my timer is saying. I don't know.
All right. So basically,
If we can finish earlier, better.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I shall do the needful. Fair
Okay.
enough. So
So, ma'am, the thing is that one is that the patient usually she doesn't know how to feed the baby. She doesn't know about latching, about proper positioning, and the frequency to which she should feed the baby. So these are all things that we need to teach her. First, we need to know them ourselves and then teach her. So lack of knowledge is the most important thing, and less frequency. And then the support system, they start telling बच्चा अच्छा होएगा अगर if you give formula milk or you give cow's milk, and all those things are given, and even the golden hour is not used. If you don't use the golden hour, then the production of milk also goes down. So all these factors contribute to less milk supply, and also to the fact that the breast getting engorged because she's not able to latch on the baby properly by proper positioning and latching, and therefore the milk gets filled up in the breast and finally causes a breast abscess to happen.
that's right. So I think we've been hearing for the last 2 days, we've been talking a lot about the good breastfeeding techniques. And if these breastfeeding techniques are followed well, we will be avoiding all these complications, and our mothers and our babies are going to be much more happier. So I think because of lack of time, we might have to, wind up our panel, and we are all aware of these breastfeeding recommendations. I think just a word about contraindications to breastfeeding. Divya, you can take it up.
So we just heard the speaker very nice talk on this. And as far as I think nothing is really contraindicated, all in all, generally speaking, and excepting, of course, like if she's on chemotherapeutic drugs, or she's on radioactive isotopes, or she's got a fulminant chicken pox or mpox or something happening on the breast. So, but otherwise, by and large, she can feed her baby even if she has HIV
No
infection. If
contraindications.
she's on, even if she has HIV or active tuberculosis, if she's put on antiretroviral drugs for HIV, and on the baby can be put on isoniazid prophylaxis for tuberculosis and can be breastfed. That is more important than restricting the baby.
So all in all, can we have one take-home message from our esteemed panelists here before we wind up this session? Anita?
We should.
Yeah. So we must all, promote breastfeeding right from the antenatal period. Mothers must be counseled enough, maybe one-to-one or group counseling can be done for that. And have a lot of posters and pictures in your antenatal rooms also, your postnatal rooms also, so that, whenever the mother or her attendants are going and they are passing, they must read it, the benefits of breastfeeding to the mother as well as baby. So we have put a lot of posters in our antenatal clinics and postnatal ward to promote breastfeeding. That is very important.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Anita. Is Manjula here?
Here. Well, yes. We have to teach the new as well as the old mothers also how to breastfeed, how to latch the baby properly, how to stay in a comfortable separate room, and then how to latch and properly feed the baby. We have to educate them.
Absolutely. Divya?
So as an obstetrician, as soon as we deliver the baby, whether it's a vaginal birth or a cesarean, we put the baby to the breast immediately. The baby will learn the breast crawl. It has already got it in its SIM card. So it's going to latch onto the this thing, but the obstetrician needs to insist on doing so. Thank you.
Thank you so
Liquid
much.
gold, like
so much.
Divya said.
Yes, indeed. We have to make sure that we
Sadhu, I like my pediatrician friends to make a comment if we have committed anything which is not as per guidelines in the panel discussion, because we heard beautiful new messages in last 3 days. So maybe one Dr. Gangal's comment or something like that on our panel, if sir is there.
I think it was a very
Prashant,
nice.
if you're there.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
Dr.
I am there.
Karthik.
And Karthik, can I speak?
Yes, please.
Yeah, yes, sir.
We are
Please go ahead.
waiting to hear you.
Okay. So I've been here for 3 days and seeing with great enthusiasm how you people have passed. Am I audible?
Yes, doctor. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I've been seeing how enthusiastic you people are in promoting breastfeeding. And just to sum up, I won't want to comment specifically on panel discussion. I think all of you did pretty well. So I would just comment as a general note before the postage starts that breastfeeding has moved from tradition, from the control of grandmothers and aunties and mausis and kakus to medical science. Schools don't teach it. Medical science curriculum also doesn't teach it much. So we must update ourselves on this particular skill. पेढ़ा अगर किसको मिलता है डिलीवरी के बाद, मेरा एक्सपीरियंस डॉक्टर कार्तिक यहाँ का है, वो ऑब्स्टेट्रिशियन को मिलता है. 100 में से एक बार पीडियाट्रिशियन को मिल जाता है. इसका मतलब है माँ का विश्वास जो रहता है वो ज्यादा करके ऑब्स्टेट्रिशियन के ऊपर रहता है, पीडिया नहीं रहता है. तो माँ को मोटिवेट करने का काम ही बेसिकली ऑब्स्टेट्रिशियन ही कर सकता है. मम्मी को हम लोगों ने खींच के लाया है हॉस्पिटल, घर से हॉस्पिटल में, तो एक बड़ी रिस्पॉन्स हमारे, शी शुड फील दिस प्लेस एज होम. सो इट्स दैट्स व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड मैटरनिटी होम एंड नॉट हॉस्पिटल. तो उसका घर जैसा वातावरण दे दीजिए. Maternity home is the only place where the mothers come to the hospital who are not sick. The rest, all the crowd which comes to the hospital, they are all sick crowd. Mother is not a sick crowd. That is what to remember. And as I have said in my lecture, we have to raise the oxytocin levels of the mother. We have to follow BFHI in body, mind, and spirit, whether we get certificate or not, because we are here to give best practices to the patient, and hence our central role is improving the oxytocin. Right from the concept of Navjat Shishu Agaman Kaksha to breast crawl, and then postnatally, the two key things which I will say for obstetricians is how to wake up a sleepy baby that every mother and nurse should know, and what are the feeding cues that a baby gives for feeding, and maintaining that 2-hourly feeding frequency at least 10 times in 24 hours, and monitoring the adequacy of feeding by stool and weight on 0, 3, 7, 14 and 28 and 42 days, seeing to it that the stools become yellow by day 5 and the stool frequency is maintained. And when you want to become baby friendly, you also take the comfort of the mother into picture. Somebody talked about the diet. So message is खाते खाते पिलाइए और पिलाते पिलाते खाइए. एक गेस्ट को हम लोग पानी ऑफर करते हैं, वैसे पिलाने वाली माँ के सामने एक पानी का ग्लास और उसके साथ साथ कुछ चना, सिंग, खजूर, ड्राई फ्रूट, दूध, दही ऐसे खाने के लिए रखेंगे तो दूध भी अच्छा आएगा और माँ को टेम्परामेंट भी अच्छा रहेगा. जैसे ग्वाला दूध निकालने के पहले गाय के सामने घास डालता है, वैसे हर एक माँ को ये फैसिलिटी मिलेगी तो अच्छा होगा. एंड लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट, that just like an orthopedic nursing home has got a team of occupational therapists and physiotherapists, and no orthopedic surgery will become successful unless these members are involved. Similarly, we don't have time as professionals to help the mother for successful breastfeeding. So why not take help of lactation counselors and consultants? So we must think seriously of these particular facilities also. You need not improve drastically. You can start focused training. Start with just the antenatal counseling. Improve it. Then after 3 months, you can take initiation. Then you can take exclusive breastfeeding. That's all I would like to say. I would like to congratulate all of you, all ICOG members, all FOGSI members who are attending. And I'm sure with this particular workshop, the thing will start changing in India. Want to become baby friendly? Please contact us on the given number and we'll help you. At least we'll provide you with a free sensitization. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prashant. I think Dr. Archana wanted to make a comment. Dr. Archana, you wanted to make some comments.
No, sir. Thank you, sir. It was a great learning experience of 3 days. So people are anxious to fill the post test.
Yes.
The
yes.
only one point which I wanted to raise, sir, which Charu madam has already said, that some people have missed the pre-test because of some technical issues. So please consider that when you are giving the certificates. And
We'll have to ask the ICOG team.
yeah, we have to request that because genuine reasons somewhere maybe. And thank you, Dr. Charu, for and the teammates which have who have brought the very apt points. And I'm very happy that Manjula madam pointed out that not only the new mothers, the old mothers also need to be trained again. So that was a very beautiful point, and I know we all get along together. पेड़ा कोई भी खाए सर, हम सब काम साथ में करने वाले हैं.
हम नहीं बांट के खाते हैं हमारे यहाँ.
Thank you, sir. And they were beautiful points, I think, as a delegate or as a part of this program, Charu and ICOG team and our FOGSI team. I'm really thankful for learning so many take homes and many new concepts. Yeah.
So we've had a very, very good session. It was baby friendly. So let's take this baby friendly attitude to our workplace, and we need to change our mindset to start with. And as we said earlier, it's not just one step that matters. It is all 10 steps that matter. And this can't happen without a pediatrician. As you found out, I cannot fill in what Prashant Gangal does, and he can't do what I do, but both of us make the place baby friendly. So I want you to take this message home, involve your pediatricians and make your place baby friendly. And we are there to help you out. We thank ICOG team, Parul, Sarita, Parag, of course, Charu, and everybody else who was involved.
I think Dr. Shashiwani madam wants to create a comment.
Yes, she will also comment. And I mean, I want to thank the Breastfeeding Promotion Network of India, Maharashtra, led by Dr. Gangal, and the Kangaroo Mother Care Foundation, led by Dr. Shashiwani. She would like to say a word. Yes, Dr. Shashiwani.
Karthik, just 1 minute. ICOG office team, please share the post-test.
Post-test, yes.
While the discussion is going on, the delegates can complete the post.
Yes, that would be great.
Yes, Vani, madam.
Thank you very much. It was an excellent presentation. I have watched it all throughout. And again, I want to make a plea that please don't forget the role of kangaroo mother care, keeping the mother and baby together for all that extra oxytocin which Dr. Prashant Gangal is mentioning. And somebody even mentioned, are there any injections of oxytocin to be given to the mother to improve breastfeeding? The best thing is to keep the baby on mother's chest. That itself is a big stimulus right from the beginning and started from your counseling session. So please don't forget that and incorporate kangaroo mother care as a part of breastfeeding promotion. That is my special plea. Added together, they have got multiple benefits, not only for the immediate one, even for the long-term benefits are also there. So I request you to please give a special place for this also in your training programs. And even in the final conclusion statement also, please include this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Parag, would you want to make some closing statements?
No, I think let's wait for a few minutes. Let people finish.
All right. Let's not disturb them.
Because they have to secure more than 50% marks in the post test. Archana, just for your information, the pre-test we don't consider whether the delegates have attempted or not. It is the post test that's important because the questions are the same, but here whatever discussion takes place, we want the delegates to take home some important tips and complete the post test. So only the post test is evaluated, and those who secure 50% marks on each day and attend all 3 days will get a certificate from ICOG. Thank you.
So I think, sir, we have done with the time. Kartikeya, sir?
Yeah. But would you want to?
Yeah, okay. Now, on behalf of the office bearers of the ICOG, I would like to thank the conveners, Dr. Kartikeya Bhagat, Dr. Charu Bapaye, and Dr. Dagli. I don't think he's around. And special appreciation to our three coordinators, Dr. Divya Singhal, Dr. Archana Trivedi, and Dr. Taruchaya, sitting in front of laptop for 3 to 4 hours without getting distracted is really difficult. I really appreciate your efforts. All the faculty, all the delegates for being supportive to the ICOG activities. And thank you all. And we will meet again in the next ICOG program, which will be probably on the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of September. And then the one in October is on menopause. The next one is on urogynecology. So see you all then. I would certainly request Dr. Karthik and Dr. Charu to give their comments. And of course, Charu, you need to give answer to all the questions because there are few queries in the chat box where people wanted to have some answers. Thank you.
Sure. I'll just go
We
through
should
them.
not forget the role of BPNI Maharashtra and the Kangaroo Mother Care Foundation. Now, before we wind up, let us go through the question answers. Reshma, I think, all right, if they are not there, Charu, will you please do
So
that?
as far as the video on breast aspiration is concerned, yes, we do it very routinely. I would like to make a special mention that we have Dr. Mangala Vani in Pune, who has a series of these, aspirations of breast abscesses, and inspired by her, we too in our own hospital are doing only aspiration of breast abscesses. We do not do IND unless it is more than 5 centimeters, or if just in case, in spite of repeated aspirations also, the abscess is not getting subsided, that after at least 3 times we will be aspirating before going in for that. We do have beautiful videos of the same, and I think we shall put it up on the ICOG website. Will that be fine? I think that should be quite fine.
Sure, that should be fine.
Yes,
you can
yes,
share
yes.
it with the office along
Yes,
with.
we shall do the needful, absolutely. Then
Charu, let's go through the answers. You can go through it.
Oh, just sorry. I'm sorry. I thought our questions in the chat box. I'm really sorry about that.
No, let's
Yes.
give them
Which
the
of the
correct
following is
answers.
the recommended first-line treatment for a breastfeeding mother with cracked nipples? So the correct answer is correction of breastfeeding technique and nipple positioning, because we know that if there's an improper latch, that is, and the baby latches only to the nipple, it's going to cause a cracked nipple. The the Infant Milk Substitute Act was passed in India in the year 1992. The IMS Act was amended in June 2003. Dr. Karthikeya, you can take up the next questions, please.
What is the punishment if one violates the IMS Act? It is imprisonment up to 3 years and a fine of rupees 5,000 or both. Breastfeeding policy should address the implementation of all 8 key clinical practices of 10 steps, code implementation, and the regular complementary assessment. Global strategy standards for breastfeeding policy state that at least 80% of the staff must explain at least 2 elements of infant feeding policy. Breast milk can be stored at room temperature for 3 hours, in the refrigerator for 3 days, and in the freezer for 3 months. For the key clinical practice indicators, monitoring data is best if based on maternal report. The functions of a milk bank include screening, collection, processing, storage, and dispensing of donor human milk. Charu, you can take over.
Sorry, I just got a little distracted.
Which of the following guidelines is not
Which
correct?
of the following guidelines is not correct for the design of breastfeeding rooms in workplace to comply with international labor standards? So the room should have multiple chairs to accommodate at least 10 women. So this is incorrect. The room should be within 10 minutes of walking distance, should be equipped with hospital grade breast pumps, and the room should be separate. Other ones, which are the guidelines. The Holder method of pasteurization of donor human milk involves heating the donor human milk to 62.5 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes, followed by rapid cooling. Pasteurized DHM can be stored at minus 20 degrees centigrade for up to 6 months. What is the most specific difference between pasteurized donor milk and mother's own milk? Is potential HIV exposure. What is the most likely outcome when a breastfeeding mother becomes ill? There is nothing going to go wrong with the milk supply. She will not transmit any disease, and she can usually continue to breastfeed is the correct answer. You are asked to help develop treatment policies that support breastfeeding for maternal infectious diseases in a family or a general medicine practice office. Which of the following statements is most accurate concerning the risk of the breastfed baby of maternal infectious diseases? Mother's immune system makes specific antibodies to infections acquired during breastfeeding, and so any problem, any disease, any infection, the mother's breastfeeding has to continue. You are contacted by a mother who was exposed to influenza at work. Her child is 15 months old, sleeps with her, and breastfeeding several times a day and at day and night. Which of the following is false? We just talked about it, that your milk can transmit the flu virus. So pump and treat the milk before feeding it to your child is wrong. Nothing needs to be done. You can feed it directly. Over to you, Dr. Karthikeya. What is the most important reason for a mother who's HIV positive?
To continue to breastfeed a baby past 12 months, there's a lower risk of child mortality from infectious disease. A breastfeeding mother is being treated for a fungal candida infection on her nipples. Your best recommendation would be make sure your baby's mouth is being treated at the same time. What is the most recommended approach to prevent breast engorgement in working women who are unable to breastfeed frequently during work hours? Regularly expressing milk using a breast pump. A mother contracts rubella while breastfeeding her 2-month-old baby. Which of the following action is most appropriate? Mother should continue breastfeeding. That
working mother need not necessarily use the pump. She can use hand pumping also. The key is expressing milk. Yeah, hand also can be used.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right, conclude. Parag or Charu?
Yeah, I got you complete.
We come to an end of
three-day
exhaustive session. We come to an end of 3 days of exhaustive breastfeeding. We are all primed. So let us know, go back and practice what we've been preaching for the past 3 days. Your comments.
Well, I think, everybody has benefited immensely from this particular webinar, and we're extremely thankful to ICOG, to Dr. Bhagat, Dr. Gangal, and the rest of the team and the esteemed faculty. Yes, indeed. And Dr. Vani, for this fantastic interaction that we had, and we are going to keep having more and more of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We can conclude the session.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. So sincere and big thank you to each and everybody. Enjoy your evening.
And let's not forget the ICOG back office team. I
Oh,
think
yes,
they
they
work
have done
more
a
than
great
we
job.
have.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely.
Thank you, Charu. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.